This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
That's Michael Dean for you. Welcome to DBL. It's Friday, April 16th. We made it to Friday. I'm Tori here with Brandon and Al. Let's get started right away. Boy, what a tough and tragic scene in Indianapolis. I'm sure you have all seen the headlines. There was a mass shooting at a FedEx facility there. At least 8 people were killed by a gunman who opened fire before taking his own life. A number of others were hurt. This is at least the 45th mass shooting in America in the past month since the Atlanta area spa shooting on March 16th. That's according to CNN, which considers a mass shooting any incident where 4 or more people, excluding the gunman, are shot and wounded or killed. I can't believe we now have to describe what a mass shooting is. We also came across this map that highlights just some of these mass shootings, and you can see how it's all across the country. Some of the witnesses at last night's shooting are speaking out about what they saw, like this man who spoke to ABC News. Take a look.
They didn't sound like gunshots at first. They made, because there was a loud clang after the first 2, and then my buddy Levi stood up as he was like kind of squatting at the bench and then looked over and out into the parking lot. Didn't see anything yet. And then we heard 3 more shots. And then my buddy Levi saw someone running out of the building, and then more shots went off. Somebody went behind their car to the trunk and got another gun, and then I saw one body on the floor.
A lot of families were waiting to be reunited with loved ones who were in the FedEx facility. They waited at a nearby hotel where a reunification center was open. A lot of the families were unable to contact their loved ones because there's a FedEx policy at the facility that prohibits workers from carrying their cell phones on the job. Now, some of the family members spoke to the news after finding out their loved ones were okay. Take a look at this.
But it is a sigh of relief just to hear something. They often say, or they used to say, no news is good news. That's not always true. That's not always true. You know, so I'm hoping and praying that the families get some type of information soon.
First of all, our love goes out to Indianapolis and everyone there. I will say that it reminds me of the argument we had over the phones with kids in high school. Should they get to keep their phones? And you think, when this occurs so often, sometimes you want your parents to be able to reach you at that point. What do you make of this? Are you numb? Are we just going to have another one? Are you angry? How are you feeling?
I'm not numb. It's just so, I feel like, ain't that America for you?
Yeah,
we
baseball,
have a mass shooting. We have
yeah.
a mass shooting, and we're like, should you be allowed to keep your cell phone?
Right.
To let people know about the mass shooting. I just think that we might be missing the point a little bit. I spent a lot of time in Indianapolis. My ex-wife is from there. I've spent years of my life there. And those are good, hard-working people, man. And it's sad, but it's not surprising. And I just want us to remember that, you know, choosing to not make a decision about guns is making a decision. Yeah. No different than your weight. If you look and you go, hey, I've gained 30 pounds in the last month, and you don't change anything, you don't exercise, and you gain another 30 pounds the next month, you can't say, how did this happen? Well, we know. Yeah. You made a decision not to do anything, and I guess we're going to live with that, Brandon, I guess.
And when you said that, hey, you spend a lot of time in Indianapolis, there are a lot of good people. I spend time in Boulder. I spend time in Virginia Beach. A lot of these cities that were highlighted on that map. And like you said, like, unless it's personalized, I don't think we're going to move that needle unless we demand some sort of action. And we've come to the point, Al, where even if you would have said that, yes, I've become somewhat numb to it. I was looking on Twitter today, and someone put up, hey, have you heard about the latest mass shooting? And under it said, which one? That's where we are right now.
It's like too many hashtags, too many mass shootings, too many justice for blank. Yeah. Did you see she was wearing I can't breathe mask, wall discuss? I mean, it's just so much turmoil.
Layers of trauma.
Yeah, layers and layers. That's a wonderful way of saying that. And we wish everyone there in Indianapolis well. If you're from there, please let us know how it is there. Well, did you all see this? This is Dr. Fauci and Representative Jim Jordan. They started fighting at a congressional hearing about the pandemic. The whole thing actually lasted for about 7 minutes before Representative Maxine Waters had to cut them off. So let's take a little look at this.
What measure, what standard, what objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You know, you're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's obvious.
You're making this a personal thing, and it isn't.
It's not a personal thing.
No, you are. That is exactly what you're doing.
The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question. What does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
Heated. Okay, so I just want to say very quickly to all of us, and I want to get your opinion that, like, we all understand what Representative Jim Jordan was saying. We all desperately want to reopen, and we all want to know when that will be. But bullying Dr. Fauci doesn't get us there any quicker. That doesn't help bring us to any kind of point where we can get together. So I totally get Jim Jordan's frustration, and I even wanted Dr. Fauci to answer. I totally get it. But bullying him in that way, who is a real hero to America in the way he handled AIDS and Ebola, isn't going to help at all.
Yeah, you know what? It's so interesting because I watched the entire
Me too.
clip. It's 7 minutes long. And he did answer. That was the thing. We didn't show it there. But he said when we get above 300 million vaccinations, Jim Jordan went on to say, well, what about this state and what about this state? And he said there's a difference between states that have a mandatory lockdown that's from the government and ones that have suggested lockdowns.
Right.
So he answered the question. So at that point, Brandon, it just seemed like it was performative at that point.
That's a good word.
But I don't think it was a definitive enough answer for a lot of Americans, Al. And I'm not even talking about the Q people and all those people, the conspiracy theorists. I'm talking about the people, the Americans, the hardworking Americans that they've been socially distancing. They've been wearing a mask, and they just want to get back to some normal life. They've been doing everything they're supposed to be doing, but they have now hit a point to where it's make or break when it comes to their business, providing food for their families. So I see what you're saying about, yes, I'm with the frustrations with Representative Jordan, but I didn't take it as him trying to bully him. I think that we need some sort of line, and we need some sort of
But we can't have that line if we don't know how people, if they're going to get vaccinated. We're asking a question that can't be answered because I don't know if I'm not allowed at work to walk up to Rob the cameraman, to walk up to Alexa, our producer, and be like, did you get vaccinated? Right. That is super illegal. Yeah, I know. So we'll never know. We'll never know how many people will decide, and it's their right to decide. But if they decide not to, and enough people decide not to, it's going to affect when we can reopen. This is just numbers.
It's just science. Yeah, Fauci at one point said it's just right now we're unacceptably high.
Yes.
And that has to be the answer right now. And unfortunately, I don't think yelling at Fauci does anything. No. I think if you look back at what he's done, he really is a huge hero to America. And some people say, I just saw that he was yelling at him. Jim Jordan seems to think bullying will change reality. That's actually the MO for senators and reps like him, says Devin Coleman. Yeah. Keep writing us in. Well, before we go to break, we got a crazy viral video to share.
Is this a good story?
This is a Bobcat story. A Bobcat attacks a woman. Her husband steps in to try and help. The whole thing was caught on camera. There's a toss. Take a look.
Watch out! It's a Bobcat attack my wife! A Bobcat!
This is the definition of Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah, I mean, it really, look.
He threw the Bobcat.
We go through, speaking of performative, now I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's wedding vows, but we always look in people's eyes and say, I'll always love you and I'll be there forever. But no one ever says I'll throw a Bobcat for you. You know, and I feel like his instinct should have been to run. He went and got a rabid Bobcat off of his wife. That's real love. I don't want to hear any of your vows about doves and forever and on a hilltop. Will you throw a Bobcat for me? That's it.
What if that's how you propose? Instead of will you marry me, it's will you throw a Bobcat for me?
That's it. Put it up on your Tinder profile. Yeah. Don't swipe right unless you throw a Bobcat for me. Right there.
Throw a Bobcat.
What a hero, honestly. And then he's like, it's a Bobcat. Amazing. All right, coming up on DBL, actress Mayim Bialik, from working with Bette Midler on the iconic movie Beaches to her comedic roles on TV, she's telling us all about it. And is there still some bad blood between Prince William and Prince Harry? Our royal expert Stephanie Jones joins us next.
Stephanie!
Woohoo!
Closed captioning provided by
Everyone who gets the COVID-19 vaccine fills out a checklist to determine if there's any reason you shouldn't get the vaccine. One of the questions asks, have you ever had a positive test for COVID-19, or has a doctor ever told you that you had COVID-19? So what happens if you get COVID-19 after your first shot? We are here to verify, do I need to restart my vaccine if I contract COVID-19 between doses? With Verify, we like to show you our sources up front. For this story, we consulted the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Amish Adalja. He's a senior scholar in infectious disease critical care and emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. If you catch COVID-19 between your 2 doses, you should self-isolate for at least 10 days.
You want to make sure that you're not contagious to people that are vaccinating you.
If your second dose is supposed to happen while you're still contagious, you will need to reschedule. While the CDC says it is best to get your second shot 3 to 4 weeks after your first one, health officials do say it is still effective up to 6 weeks after your first dose.
There's nothing to worry about if you get COVID between doses. You can still get your second dose and get protected.
So we can verify. No, you do not have to restart your vaccine if you contract COVID-19 between doses. Simply get your second shot after self-isolating.
Welcome back to DBL. Buckingham Palace has released new details about tomorrow's funeral for Prince Philip, who passed away last week. Stephanie Jones joins us to give us some insight into the royal funeral. So what will Brits be watching for tomorrow? Give us some deets.
Well, Tori, the funeral gives British people and the royal family a chance to say goodbye and pay their respects to Prince Philip. He will be carried in an electric Land Rover that he helped design to St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle for the funeral. And this is the first time we'll be seeing Harry and Prince William in public together since March of last year, because as Harry confirmed with his interview with Oprah, there's a bit of distance between the two. And the palace have confirmed that Harry will not be walking with his brother during the funeral procession. Instead, their cousin Peter Phillips will be walking between them. Once inside, Peter will also walk with William and Harry with another cousin. Now, of course, this will bring back memories of the heartbreaking images of the boys walking behind their mother's coffin during Princess Diana's funeral, and their uncle was in between them at the time. Another break from tradition is that the royal family will not be wearing the usual military uniforms. Instead, the palace said that will be in mourning dress, which is dark-colored clothing and suits.
Wow. I do have to ask, we also want to get to the fact that there's Prince Andrew, or I guess Andrew, who is embroiled in this Jeffrey Epstein affair. That's Queen Elizabeth's favorite son, is what I've heard, will be there as well. Will he be in military gear?
Okay, so I really admire the Queen for the decision that she's made. This is a really big deal because Prince Philip, he was actually in the Royal Navy for over 12 years, serving during World War II. And it's very, it's a sign of respect, and it's very customary for everyone to wear their military uniforms. Now, the Queen has made the decision that they will not be doing that. The reason for that is because Harry has been stripped of his military titles when he stepped down from being a royal. He still could wear his military badges, but it would have to be on a regular suit, meaning he'd be the only senior royal not in a military uniform. So she decided, okay, if Harry's not doing it, no one's doing it, despite obviously Prince Andrew's wishes to wear his, which, funny enough, he's still a member of the military.
I do not understand that. That's crazy.
It just seems like there's a lot of tension between the brothers.
Yeah.
And we're looking at this funeral as an individual thing, but it seems like over the course of their life, they've had issues.
Yeah, they have. Stephanie, that was amazing. Thank you so much for the details. We'll be keeping you here for updates coming up on DBL. We're catching up with actress Mayim Bialik. She tells us what Blossom would be up to today. Next in Chatting with the Stars.
It's looking more likely that we'll need a booster shot of the coronavirus vaccine, at least when it comes to Pfizer's vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Pfizer's CEO now says that people who receive the Pfizer vaccine will likely need a third dose between 6 and 12 months after initial vaccination. That third shot is needed to fight against coronavirus variants that have developed. After that, he said getting your coronavirus vaccine would likely become an annual event, kind of like getting your flu shot every year. But researchers still don't know for sure how long protection against the virus will last. That's because not all vaccines and not all viruses are the same. Some, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, known as the MMR, gives lifetime protection, while the flu is only seasonal. So far, both Pfizer and Moderna are reporting their vaccines offer protection through at least 6 months. The problem right now are variants, which continue to spread. In fact, the more contagious UK variant is now the dominant version of coronavirus in the US. While limited research shows both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines work against the variants, more research is needed, and there's always a concern a new one will emerge.
Welcome back to DBL. Actress Mayim Bialik got her big break in the iconic movie Beaches and has since starred in the sitcoms Blossom and The Big Bang Theory. Now she has a new show and a new cause, and it's all about cats. Jeff and I spoke with her earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars. Mayim, welcome to DBL. Your character Blossom was such a great role model for young girls like myself, kind of a super fan, keeping it cool. Where do you think Blossom would be today?
I don't mean to be a downer first thing in the morning, but we felt that with things like the Black Lives Matter movement, she would have been like, yes, I will be on the forefront of this.
Totally.
We felt like she'd really be a trailblazer like that.
I think so too. Or at NASA. I could see Blossom at NASA. Speaking of that, you played a neuroscientist on The Big Bang Theory, right? Or NASA, right? But you actually are a neuroscientist in real life. And I know there's a famous clip that we're going to be playing that shows when someone underestimated you or didn't know that on the red carpet.
How many people, not that you aren't a genius, but how many people think that you can solve calculus at the drop of a hat?
I actually was trained in calculus for several years. Yeah, I'm a neuroscientist, so you may not have known that.
And I just have always wanted to ask you what you felt in that moment when they were like, are the words hard to pronounce? And I know you used your real textbooks on set. That's how real it was.
I'm used to people assuming that I don't know things or that, I can't really be a scientist. So that was a very funny moment, but I love that it got turned into something that, a lot of young women have said, I felt so empowered by this,
Totally.
when really I was just like, oh, this happens all the time.
Wow.
So speaking of being smart, Mayim, you're going to be guest hosting Jeopardy. So now the question for me to you is, if they offer you that job permanently, would you take that job? Would that be something you'd be interested in?
I mean, that's a dream job. And I have to say my experience, I did 10 episodes, was an absolute dream. My brain really works the way that show works, meaning I'm constantly thinking about things, saying things. You have to be very quick on your feet and have someone in your ear being like, cut to commercial, do this. I loved it. I love that pacing. So I'm very excited for my episodes to air, because I hope that people will appreciate the kind of host that I was, and really trying to do honor to Alex Trebek as well.
Should we continue this interview, but all of our questions be in the form of an answer?
Yeah, I have one. I have a good one. That's good. That's good.
Please no.
All right, let's try it.
I'm going to try it. Okay. What is the new show Call Me Cat on Fox about a single woman who runs a cat cafe? What was attracted to the character, Mayim? Oh, that was terrible.
That was bad. But I think she knows the answer.
No. Tell us all about Call Me Cat.
Well, I play an owner of a cat cafe. I'm a cat person in real life, and actually also excited to talk about ProPlan Live Clear, which is sitting next to me and next to my cat. So I'm generally a cat person, but I've also partnered with Purina ProPlan to talk about the first and only cat food that reduces cat allergens for people who are sensitive. So that's an unbelievable life changer for me. And there's something called the Live Clear Challenge, which you can take at ProPlanLiveClear.com. And within 3 weeks of feeding this to your cat every day, on average, you see about a 50% reduction in cat allergens, which for someone like me who has a boyfriend who is sensitive to cat allergens, it's really been a life changer for us.
Before we go, your breakout role, I don't know if anyone asks you about this, but like we weren't gonna let you go without asking, was playing a young Cece Bloom. It was Bette Midler's character in Beaches, and it was an amazing role. And I just wanted to know, what do you remember about working with an icon like that? And what do you remember from working on that film?
I was 12 years old when I worked on that, so it was a minute ago. But I remember being really impressed at how quiet Bette Midler was, and how lovely and gracious, and that was a really important thing. Especially, I was very new in the industry, to meet someone who was that famous, who was still really humble and nice, was a really special part of that experience.
You can watch Mayim Bialik in Call Me Cat on Fox, My Family Will Be. And to learn more about the Purina Pro Plan Live Clear Challenge, visit ProPlanLiveClear.com. Honestly, sorry to nerd out, but it was such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the first Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. Did you know regular exercise can help protect you against severe COVID? We're chatting about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. The British Journal studied almost 50,000 people who developed COVID-19. Their study found that those who had been the most active or exercised before catching the virus were far less likely to be hospitalized. People who didn't move as much were more likely to experience severe complications. Regular exercise, whether going to the gym, walking, biking, or swimming, is more important than ever. QB is changing the way the world thinks about fitness, regardless of physical ability or age. Try their Underdesk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. I just started taking cardio bar, and that's so hard.
That just sounds hard.
It's very little movement. You're like this, but over until you're just like with your legs.
I don't think most people know what you're talking about. You just extended your arms.
No, okay. So you kind of like do like a plie, but like over and over until you fatigue the muscle enough and you're like jelly.
I was just thinking I wanted QB for my desk. I didn't take it there.
Just think, we should do an episode. I mean, not an episode. We should do a show where we have the elliptical under our desk.
Oh, that's a great idea.
All right, I want to make sure I'm in good enough shape for that, though. I don't want to be out of breath like saying a serious story. But yeah, we should do that. We got time.
We got time. And it's very good for your body, as we just said. We want to say goodbye to our coworkers. You're doing a great job producing the show from home. DBL's new every day. Have a good weekend, y'all. Be safe. We'll see you Monday. Same time, same place.
Let's get it.
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
A deadly mass shooting in Indianapolis leaves families waiting to find out if their loved ones are okay.
I'm praying the whole time, trying not to get upset.
In today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted, a man spends 15 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit.
Fingerprints at the scene of the crime were not mine.
Did A-Rod cheat on J-Lo? We're talking about the rumors. Plus, is J-Lo really keeping that massive ring? And the Paris Hilton is on DBL today.
It was one of the most empowering days of my life.
Real, honest, entertaining, live.
Daily Boss Live starts right now.
3, 2,
Thank you, Paris Hilton and Michael Dean. Same sentence. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Friday, April 16th. I'm Tori. I'm in for Sam today, and I'm here with Jeff and Al.
Hello.
Hello. Let's get started because, boy, what a tough and tragic scene in Indianapolis. I'm sure y'all have seen the headlines. There was a mass shooting at FedEx facility there, and at least 8 people were killed by a gunman who opened fire before taking his own life. A number of others were hurt. Now, this is at least the 45th mass shooting in America in the past month since the Atlanta area spa shooting on March 16th. That's according to CNN, which considers a mass shooting any incident where 4 or more people, excluding the gunman, are shot and wounded or killed. We also came across this map that highlights just some of the mass shootings, and you can see it is all across this country. Now, some of the witnesses at last night's shooting are speaking out about what they saw, like this guy who spoke to ABC News. Take a listen.
They didn't sound like gunshots at first. They made, because there was a loud clang after the first 2, and then my buddy Levi stood up as he was like kind of squatting at the bench, and then looked over and out into the parking lot. Didn't see anything yet. And then we heard 3 more shots. And then my buddy Levi saw someone running out of the building, and then more shots went off. Somebody went behind their car to the trunk and got another gun, and then I saw one body on the floor.
To get another gun. Well, a lot of families were waiting to be reunited with loved ones who were in the FedEx facility. They waited at a nearby hotel where there was a unification center and it was open. And a lot of the families, though, were unable to contact their loved ones because of a FedEx policy at that facility that prohibits workers from actually carrying their cell phones on the job. Now, some of the family members spoke to the news right after finding out their loved ones were okay. Take a look at this.
But it is a sigh of relief just to hear something. They often say, or they used to say, no news is good news. That's not always true. That's not always true. You know, so I'm hoping and praying that the families get some type of information soon.
First off, our thoughts and prayers, which don't do anything but still help, go to Indianapolis, and we are thinking of all of our DBL Nation there. Al, Jeff, another one. How many do we have this year?
147 this year. 612 last year, 424 last year. Mass shootings, not people dead, just the incident itself. Just the incident itself. It's getting to a point where we played that last clip before the woman of that guy describing what happened, and he was describing a movie.
That's what I noticed.
No affect.
Nothing.
Yes.
Hey, there's a guy there. He was dead. He went and got another gun. Thanks for the interview. I'm gonna go get a slice of pizza.
I saw that.
That's how numb we are in America to this. And I haven't talked to you, I don't think, Tori, on this show about my stance, where I am, because the gun laws aren't working, right? Whatever we think that we could change as a country and give it to the government as an idea, it's not working. Whether you're red or blue, you're not taking away my guns. I'm not saying that. We just want to do this. No, it's not okay. We're at war with each other just about this incident alone. I want swift and harsh punishment, and we haven't had a chance to debate this. I want an execution within a week if you have a mass shooting. That's 4 or more people shot, killed, or wounded. I want them dead within the week. I don't want a Netflix special about them a week later. I just watched a special about John Wayne Gacy. What am I doing? What am I watching? I'm part of the problem. Netflix, all my suggestions are How to Catch a Killer, This Murderer. America's obsessed with it. I want them dead and gone, and we need to strike fear into some people and that they're not going to do it. Like a lot of people, I think, are copycat killers, and they want this to become legendary. They want their name to live on. They want to be interviewed in jail. 50 years from now to have family? Charles Manson has family out there. He has a chance to have sex in jail. These people get to live a full life. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but the solutions that we're giving aren't working. We need to shake it up a little bit.
Can I ask you this, and Al,
yes.
I want to get your opinion.
Sorry, guys, sorry.
But no, I totally understand your passion about this.
I would hope that you would have passion about this.
We're not numb, and I hope that people at home understand that we should still fight. We should still not get bitter. My question is this: are you suggesting there be no trial?
No. I'm suggesting no trial. You're dead within a week.
Who is the judge, juror, and executioner
The government.
of that?
The
What does that
government.
mean? Like which branch?
If you shoot or kill, like the definition of a mass shooting is 4 or more people are killed or wounded. If you are accused of that, if 4 or more people are dead or wounded, when you leave the scene of a crime with a gun, 100% knowing it's you are dead within that week.
So you're just getting rid of due process?
Yes.
But Jeff, I think your frustration is clearly palpable, and I think a lot of people feel it. But I think that we tend to forget the power that we have as the people. We use the term the government, but I mean, I think we've clearly seen that our representatives kind of do what we want them to do. When we eventually decided we want legalized marijuana, that was done. That would have seemed crazy 10 years ago. The idea of gay marriage would have seemed insane, even when Will and Grace was on TV. It's been law for a long time. No one even talks about it anymore. When the people stop fighting amongst each other and say we want this done, things will get done. But that little summation, Jeff, you had about don't take away my guns. We don't want to change them. We just want to change these laws. And that while that little scrum is going on, we're going to continue to have this. When we all decide, and it'll be obvious when we're done, that this needs to change, it'll change overnight.
I agree, and in response to what you say, I completely understand why you're saying that. I also completely believe in due process in our Constitution in order to keep us a civilized country, and I also think some states don't even have death penalties anymore. But man, do I understand why you're saying that.
And it's not, and I'm not even mad. I'm throwing out an idea.
No, I totally
because the ideas we have aren't working. We shut down our country, and I know we got to run. We shut down our country at what number? How many deaths? How many people got COVID in our country that we completely shut down the country? Was it 100,000? What number do we need to get to with mass shootings that the government steps in and says, everybody hold what they're doing. We need to do something about this right now.
Because right now it's insane. Completely agree. Did you all see this? This is actually Dr. Fauci and Representative Jim Jordan. They started fighting at a congressional hearing about the pandemic. Just like Jeff was saying, when is it going to open? The whole thing lasted about 7 minutes before Representative Maxine Waters had to cut them off. It's feisty. Let's take a look.
What measure, what standard, what objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You know, you're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's obvious.
You're making this a personal thing, and it isn't.
It's not a personal thing.
No, you are. That is exactly what you're doing.
The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question. What does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
All right, so I just want to say quickly, I agree with Jim Jordan in the way of I want to know when we're going to open, right? And I want the answer to that question from Dr. Fauci, and I get his frustration. But bullying Dr. Fauci ain't going to make it any easier. That's what I think creates the divide that you hate so much, that type of rhetoric. How is that going to help anything?
It's not, and I've learned that, Al. I want to get your take on how I approach subjects. I'm very passionate, and sometimes I speak like Mr. Jordan, but when you see it from the outside
you can really see it.
You're like, man, you're not getting anywhere with that rhetoric. No. You're not getting anywhere trying to bully Dr. Fauci.
That's the frustration, Jeff, is I feel like that was performative because we can't have the answer to that because we don't know how many people are going to choose to be vaccinated. He could give an exact number. If we are forcing Americans to be vaccinated, he could say they'll have this many done by this date and we can reopen. But we don't know how many people in states where it's mandatory to lock down, in states where it's optional to lock down. Yeah. We don't have that number.
He's not a wizard.
So it's just a performance because these are the people we send to Congress. When we want people that get things done, like our boss Bert, that came in and got the show together, you see how we're dressed now? Things are different. Look at our desk.
By the way, where's Bert?
Yeah,
he's not even here.
Yeah, dude, what's going on? Yeah, come on up on DBL. J-Lo and A-Rod are over, but will she keep, the huge rock? And what about that reality TV star? Did she really canoodle with A-Rod? Did I really just say canoodle?
Yes, you did.
And
older woman.
I didn't write it. And Paris Hilton is on DBL for the first time. She's telling us how she's fighting for abused kids and revealing how Paris Hilton deals with stress.
Closed captioning provided by
Everyone who gets the COVID-19 vaccine fills out a checklist to determine if there's any reason you shouldn't get the vaccine. One of the questions asks, have you ever had a positive test for COVID-19, or has a doctor ever told you that you had COVID-19? So what happens if you get COVID-19 after your first shot? We are here to verify, do I need to restart my vaccine if I contract COVID-19 between doses? With Verify, we like to show you our sources up front. For this story, we consulted the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Amish Adalja. He's a senior scholar in infectious disease critical care and emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. If you catch COVID-19 between your 2 doses, you should self-isolate for at least 10 days.
You want to make sure that you're not contagious to people that are vaccinating you.
If your second dose is supposed to happen while you're still contagious, you will need to reschedule. While the CDC says it is best to get your second shot 3 to 4 weeks after your first one, health officials do say it is still effective up to 6 weeks after your first dose.
There's nothing to worry about if you get COVID between doses. You can still get your second dose and get protected.
So we can verify. No, you do not have to restart your vaccine if you contract COVID-19 between doses. Simply get your second shot after self-isolating.
Welcome back to DBL. A lot has happened since Paris Hilton's rise to fame in the early 2000s. She's now a DJ and businesswoman, but she also fights for boarding school reform after sharing her own story of abuse she suffered as a teen. So, how is Paris able to do it all? She told us her secret earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Joining us now is Paris Hilton. Thank you so much, Paris, for stopping by. Now, we can't wait to hear about your secret to stress relief. I think we could all use it right now amidst a pandemic. But first, speaking of stressful, as a fierce advocate for boarding school reform, what were you feeling last week when Utah passed a law that you championed, by the way? I'm so proud of you, for more oversight to prevent the abuse.
Thank you. It was one of the most empowering days of my life, just to know that everything that happened to me back when I was a teenager at the school would now be illegal today. So it was stressful as well, though, just having to get up on stage and do a whole speech in front of the governor and all the senators and everyone there. But I have just never been so proud of my life, and I've been working so hard to pass this bill. And next, we're going to be taking it to a federal level so that in all 50 states, it'll be illegal to abuse children the way they are.
Unbelievable, Paris.
Yeah, I know that you've heard from so many people who have been in your situation, but the amount of truth that you actually shared just liberated so many people, and I know they're very, very grateful for that. So with your podcast and documentary, you also reveal that the world underneath your picture-perfect life that we all saw, you actually struggled deeply while you were in the spotlight. So walk us through some of those struggles and how you ended up in a better place now.
It was very difficult to do in the beginning because I've always wanted to portray this, perfect fairy tale life. But in reality, I had been through so many traumatic experiences, and so many things have happened to me that have been very painful and hurtful and have stressed me out. And it's been very hard, but I think it's important to talk about things, and doing the documentary was so healing. I've never felt better or been in a better place in my life, and I'm very happy.
So Paris, let's go back to you coming up again, right? Because you were a pioneer in social media. You were all over the tabloids. What do you think it would have been like coming up with social media the way it is today? Because it wasn't really prevalent back then.
I feel very lucky that I grew up before all this social media, because I just can't imagine the stress of being a teenage girl and having to deal with the pressures of social media with people, online trolls and having to care about likes and just, it's so much stress. So my heart really goes out to, all the young people who are dealing with that right now.
You just hit the nail on the head. There is a stigma, right? And we talk about mental health on this show all the time. I talk about the fact that I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression, I deal with stress. So tell me more about your supplement, because I really do believe that now more than ever, we need it.
Well, with Reset, I actually was a customer at first. I was on set shooting the billboards for my documentary, and I was so exhausted and so stressed out. And then the photographer, Brendan Forbes, told me about Reset, and he was like, try these supplements. And I took them, and then literally within an hour, I was feeling just less stressed. I was having focus. I was feeling just more alive and happy. And I loved the product so much that now I decided to be an investor.
Wow. Well, before we let you go, Paris, I just have to ask, because you have this podcast, and it's not just that you're being transparent with your testimony, but you're bringing other people on to do the same. And I call my podcast my therapy. That's a part of how I keep mentally well. So I'm curious, who is your dream guest for your podcast?
I think Madonna would be a lot of fun to interview.
Madonna would be gold.
Yes.
I can't believe she hasn't been on your podcast yet. Let's put that out to the universe.
I don't even know if she does podcasts, but that would be pretty cool.
If anybody can make it happen, you can make it happen. Let's get Madonna on your podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here in DBL. If you're like us and you cannot get enough of Paris, make sure to check out This Is Paris, her podcast and documentary series on YouTube. If you want to unwind like Paris too and de-stress, which we all deserve that self-care, head over to parisreset.com for more info. Their website is on your screen. DBL will be right back. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you.
It's looking more likely that we'll need a booster shot of the coronavirus vaccine, at least when it comes to Pfizer's vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Pfizer's CEO now says that people who receive the Pfizer vaccine will likely need a third dose between 6 and 12 months after initial vaccination. That third shot is needed to fight against coronavirus variants that have developed. After that, he said getting your coronavirus vaccine would likely become an annual event, kind of like getting your flu shot every year. But researchers still don't know for sure how long protection against the virus will last. That's because not all vaccines and not all viruses are the same. Some, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, known as the MMR, gives lifetime protection, while the flu is only seasonal. So far, both Pfizer and Moderna are reporting their vaccines offer protection through at least 6 months. The problem right now are variants, which continue to spread. In fact, the more contagious UK variant is now the dominant version of coronavirus in the US. While limited research shows both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines work against the variants, more research is needed, and there's always a concern a new one will emerge.
Welcome back to DBL. The COVID-19 vaccines have been a light at the end of a very long tunnel, but there's still much to learn as more and more people receive their shots. Now, the CDC just identified nearly 6,000 people who have been fully vaccinated, but who have caught COVID anyway. They're being called breakthrough cases. Around 7% of those people required hospitalization, and 74 people have died. What do we do when we don't know something? We go to someone who does. That's Dr. Payal Kohli. She joins us live. Doc, what do you make of these breakthrough cases, and how concerned about this should we be about a reinfection?
So, Tori, I'm not all that surprised that we have breakthrough cases because we know that no vaccine is 100% effective. In clinical trials, they said this vaccine was about 94-95% effective. In the real world, we found it was about 90% effective. So that means about 10% of people may still have cases after they get vaccinated. What does concern me about this, though, Tori, is the fact that 7% of these people were hospitalized and 1% of them died. Because initially, based on the clinical trials, we thought that the vaccine is 100% effective at preventing death and preventing hospitalization. But in the real world, it turns out that it may not be. Now, we don't exactly know why these people got reinfected, whether it was related to the host or whether it was related to how much virus they were exposed to. Those are things we have to find out. But that's the part that really stuck with me, is that people got hospitalized even after they got the vaccine.
Wow.
So, Doc, we talked about potential side effects in men on this show, but there's recent news about how it might affect women differently. Could you explain this?
Are you asking for Jordan there, Jeff?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So here's what you have to tell her to look out for. So the first is that women are more likely to have side effects from the vaccine. And that could be related to estrogen, or it could be related to the fact that they're more likely to report it. Not that we complain, we're just more vocal about what's going on with us. The second is that some women have actually reported menstrual irregularities after getting the vaccine. This was not reported in the clinical trial, so I think it's still anecdotal. But it could be that the immune activation can affect your menstrual cycle. And third, and importantly, a woman should not get a mammogram within about a month or so of getting the vaccine, because it could cause inflammation in her lymph nodes, which could light up as concerning for cancer on her mammogram and really just be a false positive and really freak people out.
All right.
Good to know.
Well, Doc, the CEO of Pfizer just said that it's likely that people are going to need a third dose within 12 months of getting the vaccine, and that we might also need an annual dose, like a flu shot. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think that this is very likely to happen, Al, and I think the reason is because what we see with natural infection with coronaviruses is that your immunity can fade over time. That's why you get colds over and over again. So we know that the antibodies last 6 months, but they may fade. There's also these new variants coming. That's what that third shot is going to help with, boosting our immune system and also helping protect us against the variants. And I'm sure it'll do wonders for the Pfizer stock prices as well to have this become an annual vaccine.
True, and I think, Al, did you not buy Pfizer?
I did not.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Coley. Missed that one. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Michelle Mellette says, does Paris Hilton's neck get sore from holding her head like that? It was funny. She does do this a lot, doesn't she?
It makes it seem like she's listening, though. I like it.
I think I might actually start that.
Don't they say you should lean forward when somebody's talking? And
Okay,
be like,
let me just say it. Ready? Welcome to DBL, or welcome to DBL.
You know what's awesome?
I like that.
It's criticizing the celebrities that we get on our show.
I'm down with it.
Guys, if you're a celebrity, come on DBL. We'll make fun of you for 30 seconds after.
I wasn't making fun of Paris at all. I think she's doing a really great job with that podcast, really.
Do you?
Oh boy. All right. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. New details in the split between J-Lo and A-Rod. What might happen with her. Ready for this? $1.8 million ring. Plus, is there still bad blood between Prince William and Harry? Will their brotherly bond ever be fixed? And a big thank you, as always, to our coworker. There's BJ, there's Courtney. What's up, Brianna? We miss you. We're new every day, and we'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2,
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. I'm Tori and I'm in for Sam today, and I'm here with Jeff and Al. And we have just got some new details. Buckingham Palace has just released new details about tomorrow's funeral for Prince Philip, who of course passed away last week. Stephanie Jones joins us to give us some insight into the royal funeral. So, Steph, what will Brits be watching for tomorrow? What should we keep our eyes glued for?
Well, Tori, the funeral gives British people and the royal family a chance to say goodbye and pay their respects to Prince Philip. He will be carried in an electric Land Rover, which he helped to design, to St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle for the funeral. And this will be the first time we see Prince Harry and Prince William in public together since March of last year. And as Harry mentioned in his interview with Oprah, there is a bit of distance between the two of them, and the palace also have confirmed that Harry will not be walking with his brother during the funeral procession. Instead, their cousin Peter Phillips will be walking between them, and then once they're inside, Peter will also walk with William and Harry with another cousin. Now, of course, this is going to bring back memories of the heartbreaking images of the boys walking behind their mother's coffin during Princess Diana's funeral. Their uncle was in between them at that time. And another break from tradition, the royal family will not be wearing their usual military uniforms. Instead, the palace said they will be in mourning dress, which is a dark coloured clothing and suits.
So, Steph, real quick, just why do you think the Queen made the decision to have no military? Is it because there's two questions? One, Harry isn't allowed to have that, or also there's Andrew, who is all caught up in this Jeffrey Epstein situation, also going to be there. So is that the reason? What do you think?
You've hit the nail on the head. So normally, traditionally, all members of the royal family that are male serve in one of the forms of military that we have. We did see the Duke of Edinburgh serve 12 years in the Navy during World War II, so wearing uniforms would have been a huge sign of respect to him. But the Queen has actually stepped in here to protect Harry, and it says a lot about their relationship and where it's at, because Harry is the only senior member of the royal family that isn't entitled to wear a military suit. He could have won his 3 medals that he got from his time during Afghanistan, but the Queen decided no, everyone's going to wear mourning suits, so he's not sticking out, and there's no difference between them. What's interesting is, like you said, Andrew, however, is still entitled to wear his, and he was championing to do that, so not good news from his behalf.
Wow. Prince Andrew is not in jail? I don't mean to break from
No, he's not in jail. No, he's not.
He is
Jeff,
not.
rich people don't go to jail.
Interesting.
Grow up. Steph, I have I'm going to explain society to Jeff later. Rich people never pay any price.
We'll chat at the break.
Yeah. Steph, I have a question. In hip-hop terms, it seems like the brothers have beef, and it seems like it's been there forever, and we talk around it. Do you just think maybe they don't like each other? I think a lot of our viewers probably have a sibling that they're closer to than others, and some that they just flat out don't like. Is this what you've noticed growing up, like they just don't like each other that much?
I think in more recent years, there is definitely a bit of hostility, and I think it's obvious for the public to see. Harry himself said to Oprah in the interview they haven't been speaking, and I think that William definitely takes his role as future king extremely seriously, and Harry has always been the black sheep, so to speak. You know, he's done more of his own thing, and I think as they've got older and their values have definitely separated and Harry's found his own path, that definitely has been trying, I think, for William. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and I hope they take this time to really rebuild those bridges and bonds, because they're siblings after all. Diana wouldn't have wanted that. She'd want them united.
I totally agree with you. Well said. Thank you so much, Steph. We really appreciate your insight on this matter, and I will be watching.
I could have given that insight.
No, you couldn't have. Okay. How could you have done that?
I mean, I know some stuff. It's on the low, though. I don't let people know.
All right, there's more fallout. You all see that face? There's more fallout over the breakup between J-Lo and A-Rod. The couple announced they were ending their 2-year engagement yesterday morning. Now, according to TMZ, Jenny from the block is keeping her rock.
Were you waiting all day to say that?
Yes. I didn't write that, but I did really like it.
A-Rod, you delivered it like a PTA mom.
I really liked it. A-Rod proposed with this 15-carat diamond ring back in 2019. It's reportedly worth $1.8 million. TMZ says J-Lo still has it at her home. She's currently filming a movie in the Dominican Republic. Meantime, Madison LaCroix, if you don't know about her, she has broken her silence about the split. A-Rod's friendship with the Southern Charm star was said to be a factor in the breakup. She told Page Six that she wishes.
That's a way to put it.
Yep, the former couple. I'm very diplomatic here. She wishes the former couple the best. Let's just say it in hip-hop terms, they split.
Yeah.
He cheated.
Yeah, well, allegedly.
Allegedly, he cheated.
She just said hip-hop terms, they split.
That's as deep as she goes with the genre. Jeff, I want to get your opinion. Obviously, this is an opinion show, but I think if you have a mutual split where you honestly as adults go, hey, I like you as a person, but I think we both agree this isn't working. Hey, here's your stuff back. You left the sweatshirt in my closet. Have a good life. When you keep the ring, I think that's a way to say, hey, you're lucky I'm not going to blow you up in public. This ring is you getting off easy.
I had an ex-girlfriend one time, and she told me that. And you'd think it would sting.
Is that right?
We were friends after that, because I'm like, thank you so much for saying that. Like, you saved me a lot of time and a headache, and we stayed friends after that. But you bring up an interesting question, and I'm going to ask you, Tori. Does she have to give back that ring? They weren't married. Is she entitled to keep that ring if she wants it?
So
$1.8 million.
So legally, if it's a gift in certain states, because he gifted it to her, she doesn't have to return it. But he does get tax deductible because of that ring and because it's a gift to her. So in some states, people
Did you not answer like a nerd and say, would you keep it?
You really did answer that like a
in some states,
H&R Block representative.
Don't forget, April 16th.
It's April 15th, and I think in some states you don't have to give it back. But I think you're right, it means something if you don't. Mariah Carey famously.
Is it the 15th?
Yes, it's the 15th.
I delay mine. But anyways, would you keep it or not?
I think if there was anger there, you keep it like Mariah Carey, and if not, you give it back, sell it, or make it into
Would Tori keep it if your husband or husband-to-be was cheating with Madison LaCroix?
Or would you say, I don't want anything to remind me of this person?
I think I wouldn't want it to remind me.
What do you mean? You cash that baby in and go to Vegas.
Cash it in Vegas.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll cash it in.
Shop.
All right. Aaron Rodgers will make his final appearance guest hosting Jeopardy tonight. The NFL quarterback hosted the game show for the past 2 weeks. He recently posted a behind-the-scenes look of his podium setup. He's got a bunch of sticky notes, there you go, around the monitor with reminders like slow down, stand up straight, relax, and energy. Rob, I don't know if you can, but we have a sign on ours that's very similar.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that weird? So we have a sign on ours. This is probably specifically for me.
Well, it's the host's.
What do you guys think?
Camera.
So it says smile, slow, viewers, and shorter, meaning...
Tell everybody what that means.
It means smiling, keep it upbeat, slow down. We're not trying to pound anyone's head with like a cement maker.
Does it say anything about your analogies on there? Maybe you should
remember the viewers and also keep your thoughts shorter. So I think that's smart. I didn't really like him as a host, to be super honest.
Really?
Yeah. I think he has no charisma.
Well, I think, I love behind-the-scenes stuff, and I think he did a fine job, right?
I don't think it was great.
Yeah, but I mean, having those notes, I still have notes. We still have them over here. On my computer, I have every day that I read a little quote about, about your attitude, and 10% is what happens to you, 90% is how you react. I still have these notes. People out there think hosting is just like, it comes natural and easy. Just read that and say this. You have somebody in your ear, you're reading these words, you're trying to tell a story, you have 30 seconds in your ear, you're trying to finish up your thoughts. It's a lot harder than people think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have daily affirmations, but getting back to the Aaron Rodgers thing, I know a lot of people say he doesn't have charisma, but what if we saw a young Alex Trebek auditioning? I think people might have said the same thing, as opposed to if we had Jamie Foxx, who's the most charismatic person on the planet, but would that be what the Jeopardy genre calls for? Happy
medium, and there is a change.org petition for this. LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow. Ooh. He's got the right kind of charisma. Has he auditioned yet? Yeah, he's going to be on it, and everybody wants him to be the permanent host, including myself.
Fred Savage.
Oh, he'd be good too.
I get notes from Jeff too. It's Friday. Just get us to the weekend and don't be bad. Thanks a lot. Coming up on DBL.
I use different words.
One man's triumphant story of being freed after serving time in prison for a crime he was falsely accused of. That's coming up next in Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted. And of course, we have our DBL staff. They're working hard at home during the pandemic. You keep us all going. There's Aaron right there in a cute little burnt sienna shirt. We'll see you right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Everyone who gets the COVID-19 vaccine fills out a checklist to determine if there's any reason you shouldn't get the vaccine. One of the questions asks, have you ever had a positive test for COVID-19, or has a doctor ever told you that you had COVID-19? So what happens if you get COVID-19 after your first shot? We are here to verify, do I need to restart my vaccine if I contract COVID-19 between doses? With Verify, we like to show you our sources up front. For this story, we consulted the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Amish Adalja. He's a senior scholar in infectious disease critical care and emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. If you catch COVID-19 between your 2 doses, you should self-isolate for at least 10 days.
You want to make sure that you're not contagious to people that are vaccinating you.
If your second dose is supposed to happen while you're still contagious, you will need to reschedule. While the CDC says it is best to get your second shot 3 to 4 weeks after your first one, health officials do say it is still effective up to 6 weeks after your first dose.
There's nothing to worry about if you get COVID between doses. You can still get your second dose and get protected.
So we can verify. No, you do not have to restart your vaccine if you contract COVID-19 between doses. Simply get your second shot after self-isolating.
Welcome back to DBL. Imagine a man you've never met points to you in court and says, you're a murderer. Well, it happened to Richard Miles. Earlier, Sam and I spoke with him in today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted.
May 15th, 1994. Shots ring out at a gas station in Dallas, Texas. 19-year-old Richard Miles is walking by a friend's house a couple miles away.
The next thing I noticed was a helicopter sounding in the air and the light then shining on me.
Witnesses say a tall, dark-skinned black man opened fire on 2 men inside a parked car, killing 1.
And the next thing I noticed, I am getting out of the police car at a Texaco station where a gunshot residue test is conducted on my hands while I'm in handcuffs.
There are 10 witnesses. Only one of them picks Richard.
Why Walker Steinman was the only witness behind the Texaco. If when they had to pick me up, if they would have took me straight to homicide, not taking me to the crime scene and showing me to a witness, then I would not have been picked out.
Richard stands trial for murder and attempted murder.
My alibi witnesses came to testify. There was no gun ever found at the scene of the crime. Fingerprints at the scene of the crime were not mine.
But the prosecution tells a different story, saying there was gunshot residue on Richard's right hand.
Positive in my right hand, negative anywhere else. Number one, I'm left-handed.
Then, the DA's star witness, Marcus Thurman, points to Richard while on the stand when asked who was the shooter.
They came back with a total of 60 years.
For years, Richard writes hundreds of letters hoping someone will listen. Then one day, a trip to the prison barber changes his course.
Then pulled me to the side and he said, man, if you're really wrongfully incarcerated, they got an organization called Centurion Ministries. Because of Ben, I wrote them.
Centurion Ministries sent him a box of evidence from his case. In it, he finds documents never given to his attorney during trial. On October 12, 2009, after 15 years, Richard is released from prison. 4 months later, Marcus Thurman recants his in-court identification of Richard.
They would talk to Marcus Thurman. He would then tell them, he said, well, you really need to go talk to the prosecutor, because he was the one that told me to go in there and point Richard out.
Then, multiple experts, including the state's expert from his original trial, say the residue on Richard's hand that night is not from a gun. In 2012, the Texas Court of Appeals declares Richard is actually innocent.
Richard, welcome to DBL. You've been very vocal about how prison changed you. Your mom has even said part of her son is still dead. That is such a profound statement. Can you elaborate on what that means?
The reality is when an individual goes to prison, who that person was before prison, be it their dreams, aspirations, and colleges, it all stops at the point of incarceration. And when there is no systems within the prison system to help them rebound once they get out, that person is literally dead. And that is, in essence, what happened to me.
So, Richard, this is weird. The prosecutor of your case actually follows you on Facebook, but you two have never directly spoken. Why do you think he follows you?
I would like to know that answer as well. You know, I think he just understands that what he did was wrong, and he might just be really seeing what I'm doing now after the life has been given back to me.
Did you ever want to reach out to him yourself and have a couple questions for him? I imagine I would.
In this space, I do. You know, I feel like accountability is really key for right now, transparency. And whether it was a lack of effort on his part or other extenuating circumstances, I think that piece needs to get out.
And I know that no amount in the world could somehow compensate for the years that you lost, that were taken away from you. But the state has given you a $1.2 million compensation for your time served. It also gives you a monthly annuity. How do those payments make you feel?
The reality is everything that I have comes from a dark space. And so while I do have the resources and I was given the resources, it reminds me of a time when my life was laid stagnant and dormant. But it does provide resources in order to make change for other people that might be going through the same things that I went through.
And speaking of change, since your release, you started Miles of Freedom. It's a nonprofit that helps prisoners adjust after they are released. The program brings you back to prison for visits, obviously. Is this triggering in some way, or are you strictly there just to help other inmates?
I think it's a two-edged sword, being that iron sharpens iron. I go back into the prisons to minister and to be a beacon of light, and I get encouragement from those men as well. Miles of Freedom works to work with people that are coming home from prison because we understand that's a gap in the space of criminal justice, and that's where we find our best needs and services fall in.
Wow, Richard, you amaze me. Despite everything that you have gone through, you've picked yourself up, you're helping other people, you're a champion for change, trying to create reform in the prison system. I hope that everyone watching right now can go and learn more about Richard's organization, because it is changing lives. So visit milesoffreedom.org. Richard, thank you for joining us today, for sharing your story. You are incredible,
amazing,
my man.
You amazing.
Are incredible. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
It was our honor. We'll be right back.
Nearly.
It's looking more likely that we'll need a booster shot of the coronavirus vaccine, at least when it comes to Pfizer's vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Pfizer's CEO now says that people who receive the Pfizer vaccine will likely need a third dose between 6 and 12 months after initial vaccination. That third shot is needed to fight against coronavirus variants that have developed. After that, he said getting your coronavirus vaccine would likely become an annual event, kind of like getting your flu shot every year. But researchers still don't know for sure how long protection against the virus will last. That's because not all vaccines and not all viruses are the same. Some, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, known as the MMR, gives lifetime protection, while the flu is only seasonal. So far, both Pfizer and Moderna are reporting their vaccines offer protection through at least 6 months. The problem right now are variants, which continue to spread. In fact, the more contagious UK variant is now the dominant version of coronavirus in the US. While limited research shows both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines work against the variants, More research is needed, and there's always a concern a new one will emerge.
Welcome back to DBL. Did you know regular exercise can help protect you against severe COVID? We're chatting about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. Now, the British Journal studied almost 50,000 people who developed COVID-19, and their study found that those who had been the most active or exercised before catching the virus were far less likely to be hospitalized. People who didn't move as much were more likely to experience severe complications. Regular exercise, whether going to the gym, walking, biking, or swimming, is really more important than ever. QB is changing the way the world thinks about fitness, regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. I was telling you guys, I think both of you, I'm taking cardio bar.
What is that? And that's bar, B-A-R-R-E.
Yeah,
right?
like a ballet bar, and you go to where you're fatigued, your muscle almost can't take it anymore, and then you're done.
So you pay to go to a room that just has a bar in it?
Yeah.
Do you not have anything that's a bar in your home?
No, I do it at home with a chair alone.
Maybe you should go to a couple.
To mingle.
Oh my God. What do you guys exercise? Anything? Yoga?
I do yoga in the morning, yeah.
Yeah, I do the bike, and that's why I like the QB idea. I like to keep my legs moving because I can think about other things. Well, my lower half just does what it wants.
Wow,
that didn't sound great.
Like a centaur. Yeah, that didn't sound great.
I will try your bar and chair thing.
Excellent. I'll give you the site. We'll be right back.
Got those 1700s workouts.
We'll be right back.
Consideration is brought to you by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. We have a crazy viral video to share. A bobcat attacks a woman. Her husband steps in to try and help. The whole thing is caught on camera. Take a look.
Watch out! Oh, shoot that! Get out! Watch out! Watch out! It's a bobcat attacked my wife! A bobcat!
It was cool because it was like he was holding it up like Simba, but then like a weird director's alt ending, he ends up throwing it.
It reminded me of like an old Steve Martin, like the Jerk movie or something, where they're whipping around and you take it and like throw it. And it's hilarious.
Well, and everyone, the bobcat's okay. Everyone's okay. We're not laughing at the bobcat or that.
I am. Yeah,
I got in trouble on Twitter already about that.
Twitter's always for trouble.
All right. Well, we hope everyone's well. We hope everyone has a good weekend. Goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. DBL, we're new every day. We'll see you Monday, y'all. Same time, same place. Have a good weekend.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
A deadly mass shooting in Indianapolis leaves families waiting to find out if their loved ones are okay.
I'm praying the whole time, trying not to get upset.
In today's Freedom Files, wrongfully convicted, a man spends 15 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit.
Fingerprints at the scene of the crime were not mine.
Did A-Rod cheat on J-Lo? We're talking about the rumors. Plus, is J-Lo really keeping that massive ring? And the Paris Hilton is on DBL today.
It was one of the most empowering days of my life.
Real, honest, entertaining, live.
Daily Boss Live starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Paris Hilton and Michael Dean. Same sentence. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Friday, April 16th. I'm Tori. I'm in for Sam today, and I'm here with Jeff and Al.
Hello.
Hello. Let's get started, because, boy, what a tough and tragic scene in Indianapolis. I'm sure y'all have seen the headlines. There was a mass shooting at FedEx facility there, and at least 8 people were killed by a gunman who opened fire before taking his own life. A number of others were hurt. Now, this is at least the 45th mass shooting in America in the past month since the Atlanta area spa shooting on March 16th. That's according to CNN, which considers a mass shooting any incident where 4 or more people, excluding the gunman, are shot and wounded or killed. We also came across this map that highlights just some of the mass shootings, and you can see it is all across this country. Now, some of the witnesses at last night's shooting are speaking out about what they saw, like this guy who spoke to ABC News. Take a listen.
They didn't sound like gunshots at first. They made, because there was a loud clang after the first 2, and then my buddy Levi stood up as he was like kind of squatting at the bench, and then looked over and out into the parking lot. Didn't see anything yet, and then we heard 3 more shots, and then my buddy Levi saw someone running out of the building, and then more shots went off. Somebody went behind their car to the trunk and got another gun, and then I saw 1 body on the floor.
To get another gun. Well, a lot of families were waiting to be reunited with loved ones who were in the FedEx facility. They waited at a nearby hotel where there was a unification center, and it was open. And a lot of the families, though, were unable to contact their loved ones because of a FedEx policy at that facility that prohibits workers from actually carrying their cell phones on the job. Now, some of the family members spoke to the news right after finding out their loved ones were okay. Take a look at this.
But it is a sigh of relief just to hear something. They often say, or they used to say, no news is good news. That's not always true. That's not always true. You know, so I'm hoping and praying that the families get some type of information soon.
First off, our thoughts and prayers, which don't do anything but still help, go to Indianapolis, and we are thinking of all of our DBL Nation there. Al, Jeff, another one. How many do we have this year?
147 this year. 612 last year, 424 last year. Mass shootings, not people dead, just the incident itself. Just the incident itself. It's getting to a point where we played that last clip before the woman of that guy describing what happened, and he was describing a movie.
That's what I noticed.
No affect.
Nothing.
Yes.
Hey, there's a guy there. He was dead. He went and got another gun. Thanks for the interview. I'm gonna go get a slice of pizza.
I saw that.
That's how numb we are in America to this. And I haven't talked to you, I don't think, Tori, on this show about my stance, where I am, because the gun laws aren't working, right? Whatever we think that we could change as a country and give it to the government as an idea, it's not working. Whether you're red or blue, you're not taking away my guns. I'm not saying that. We just want to do this. No, it's not okay. We're at war with each other just about this incident alone. I want swift and harsh punishment, and we haven't had a chance to debate this. I want an execution within a week if you have a mass shooting. That's 4 or more people shot, killed, or wounded. I want them dead within the week. I don't want a Netflix special about them a week later. I just watched a special about John Wayne Gacy. What am I doing? What am I watching? I'm part of the problem. Netflix, all my suggestions are How to Catch a Killer, This Murderer. America's obsessed with it. I want them dead and gone, and we need to strike fear into some people, and that they're not going to do it. Like a lot of people, I think, are copycat killers, and they want this to become legendary. They want their name to live on. They want to be interviewed in jail. 50 years from now, to have family? Charles Manson has family out there. He has a chance to have sex in jail. These people get to live a full life. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but The solutions that we're giving aren't working. We need to shake it up a little bit.
Can I ask you this, and Al, I want to get your opinion.
Guys, sorry.
But no, I totally understand your passion about this.
I hope that you would have passion about this.
We're not numb, and I hope that people at home understand that we should still fight. We should still not get bitter. My question is this: are you suggesting there be no trial?
No. I'm suggesting no trial. You're dead within a week.
Who is the judge, juror, and executioner?
The government.
Of that? What does that mean? Like which branch?
If you shoot or kill, like the definition of a mass shooting is 4 more people are killed or wounded. If you are accused of that, if 4 more people are dead or wounded, when you leave the scene of a crime with a gun, 100% knowing it's you are dead within that week.
So you're just getting rid of due process?
Yes.
But Jeff, I think your frustration is clearly palpable, and I think a lot of people feel it. But I think that we tend to forget the power that we have as the people. We use the term the government, but I mean, I think we've clearly seen that our representatives kind of do what we want them to do. When we eventually decided we want legalized marijuana, that was done. That would have seemed crazy 10 years ago. The idea of gay marriage would have seemed insane, even when Will and Grace was on TV. It's been law for a long time. No one even talks about it anymore. When the people stop fighting amongst each other and say we want this done, things will get done. But that little summation, Jeff, you had about don't take away my guns. We don't want to change them. We just want to change these laws. And that while that little scrum is going on, we're going to continue to have this. When we all decide, and it'll be obvious when we're done, that this needs to change, it'll change overnight.
I agree, and in response to what you say, I completely understand why you're saying that. I also completely believe in due process in our Constitution in order to keep us a civilized country, and I also think some states don't even have death penalties anymore. But man, do I understand why you're saying that.
And it's not, and I'm not even mad. I'm throwing out an idea.
No, I totally
because the ideas we have aren't working. We shut down our country, and I know we got to run. We shut down our country at what number? How many deaths? How many people got COVID in our country that we completely shut down the country? Was it 100,000? What number do we need to get to with mass shootings that the government steps in and says, everybody hold what they're doing. We need to do something about this right now.
Because right now it's insane. Completely agree. Did you all see this? This is actually Dr. Fauci and Representative Jim Jordan. They started fighting at a congressional hearing about the pandemic. Just like Jeff was saying, when is it going to open? The whole thing lasted about 7 minutes before Representative Maxine Waters had to cut them off. It's feisty. Let's take a look.
What measure, what standard, what objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You know, you're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's obvious.
You're making this a personal thing, and it isn't.
It's not a personal thing.
No, you are. That is exactly what you're doing.
The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question. What does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
All right, so I just want to say quickly, I agree with Jim Jordan in the way of I want to know when we're going to open, right? And I want the answer to that question from Dr. Fauci, and I get his frustration. But bullying Dr. Fauci ain't going to make it any easier. That's what I think creates the divide that you hate so much, that type of rhetoric. How is that going to help anything?
It's not, and I've learned that, Al, I want to get your take on how I approach subjects. I'm very passionate, and sometimes I speak like Mr. Jordan, but when you see it from the outside
you can really see it.
You're like, man, you're not getting anywhere with that rhetoric. No. You're not getting anywhere trying to bully Dr. Fauci.
That's the frustration, Jeff, is I feel like that was performative because we can't have the answer to that because we don't know how many people are going to choose to be vaccinated. He could give an exact number. If we are forcing Americans to be vaccinated, he could say they'll have this many done by this date and we can reopen. But we don't know how many people in states where it's mandatory to lock down, in states where it's optional to lock down. Yeah. We don't have that
number. He's not a wizard.
So it's just a performance because these are the people we send to Congress. When we want people that get things done, like our boss Bert, that came in and got the show together, you see how we're dressed now? Things are different. Look at our desk.
By the way, where's Bert?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not even here.
Yeah,
Give him a shout out. He's not
what's
even
going
here.
on? Yeah, come on up on DBL. J-Lo and A-Rod are over, but will she keep, the huge rock? And what about that reality TV star? Did she really canoodle with A-Rod? Did I really just say canoodle?
Yes, you did. You older woman.
I didn't write it. And Paris Hilton is on DBL for the first time. She's telling us how she's fighting for abused kids and revealing how Paris Hilton deals with stress.
Closed captioning provided by
Everyone who gets the COVID-19 vaccine fills out a checklist to determine if there's any reason you shouldn't get the vaccine. One of the questions asks, have you ever had a positive test for COVID-19, or has a doctor ever told you that you had COVID-19? So what happens if you get COVID-19 after your first shot? We are here to verify, do I need to restart my vaccine if I contract COVID-19 between doses? With Verify, we like to show you our sources up front. For this story, we consulted the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Amish Adalja. He's a senior scholar in infectious disease critical care and emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. If you catch COVID-19 between your 2 doses, you should self-isolate for at least 10 days.
You want to make sure that you're not contagious to people that are vaccinating you.
If your second dose is supposed to happen while you're still contagious, you will need to reschedule. While the CDC says it is best to get your second shot 3 to 4 weeks after your first one, health officials do say it is still effective up to 6 weeks after your first dose.
There's nothing to worry about if you get COVID between doses. You can still get your second dose and get protected.
So we can verify. No, you do not have to restart your vaccine if you contract COVID-19 between doses. Simply get your second shot after self-isolating.
Welcome back to DBL. A lot has happened since Paris Hilton's rise to fame in the early 2000s. She's now a DJ and businesswoman, but she also fights for boarding school reform after sharing her own story of abuse she suffered as a teen. So, how is Paris able to do it all? She told us her secret earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Joining us now is Paris Hilton. Thank you so much, Paris, for stopping by. Now, we can't wait to hear about your secret to stress relief. I think we could all use it right now amidst a pandemic. But first, speaking of stressful, as a fierce advocate for boarding school reform, what were you feeling last week when Utah passed a law that you championed, by the way? I'm so proud of you for more oversight to prevent the abuse.
Thank you. It was one of the most empowering days of my life, just to know that everything that happened to me back when I was a teenager at the school would now be illegal today. So it was stressful as well, though, just having to get up on stage and do a whole speech in front of the governor and all the senators and everyone there. But I have just never been so proud of my life, and I've been working so hard to pass this bill. And next, we're going to be taking it to a federal level so that in all 50 states, it'll be illegal to abuse children the way they are.
Unbelievable, Paris.
Yeah, I know that you've heard from so many people who have been in your situation, but the amount of truth that you actually shared just liberated so many people, and I know they're very, very grateful for that. So with your podcast and documentary, you also reveal that the world underneath your picture-perfect life that we all saw, you actually struggled deeply while you were in the spotlight. So walk us through some of those struggles and how you ended up in a better place now.
It was very difficult to do in the beginning because I've always wanted to portray this, perfect fairy tale life. But in reality, I had been through so many traumatic experiences and, so many things have happened to me that have been very painful and hurtful and have stressed me out. And it's been very hard, but I think it's important to talk about things, and doing the documentary was so healing. I've never felt better or been in a better place in my life, and I'm very happy.
So Paris, let's go back to you coming up again, right? Because you were a pioneer in social media. You were all over the tabloids. What do you think it would have been like coming up with social media the way it is today? Because it wasn't really prevalent back then.
I feel very lucky that I grew up before all this social media, because I just can't imagine the stress of being, a teenage girl and having to deal with the pressures of social media, with people, online trolls, and having to care about likes, and just, it's so much stress. So my heart really goes out to, all the young people who are dealing with that right now.
You just hit the nail on the head. There is a stigma, right? And we talk about mental health on this show all the time. I talk about the fact that I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression, I deal with stress. So tell me more about your supplement, because I really do believe that now more than ever, we need it.
Well, with Reset, I actually was a customer at first. I was on set shooting the billboards for my documentary, and I was so exhausted and so stressed out. And then the photographer, Brendan Forbes, told me about Reset, and he was like, try these supplements. And I took them, and then literally within an hour, I was feeling just less stressed. I was having focus. I was feeling just more alive and happy. And I loved the product so much that now I decided to be an investor.
Wow. Well, before we let you go, Paris, I just have to ask, because you have this podcast, and it's not just that you're being transparent with your testimony, but you're bringing other people on to do the same. And I call my podcast my therapy. That's a part of how I keep mentally well. So I'm curious, who is your dream guest for your podcast?
I think Madonna would be a lot of fun to interview.
Madonna would be gold.
Yes.
I can't believe she hasn't been on your podcast yet. Let's put that out to the universe.
I don't even know if she does podcasts, but that would be pretty cool.
If anybody can make it happen, you can make it happen. Let's get Madonna on your podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here in DBL. If you're like us and you cannot get enough of Paris, make sure to check out This Is Paris, her podcast and documentary series on YouTube. If you want to unwind like Paris too and de-stress, which we all deserve that self-care, head over to parisreset.com for more info. Their website is on your screen. DBL will be right back. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you. Bye.
It's looking more likely that we'll need a booster shot of the coronavirus vaccine, at least when it comes to Pfizer's vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Pfizer's CEO now says that people who receive the Pfizer vaccine will likely need a third dose between 6 and 12 months after initial vaccination. That third shot is needed to fight against coronavirus variants that have developed. After that, he said getting your coronavirus vaccine would likely become an annual event, kind of like getting your flu shot every year. But researchers still don't know for sure how long protection against the virus will last. That's because not all vaccines and not all viruses are the same. Some, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, known as the MMR, gives lifetime protection, while the flu is only seasonal. So far, both Pfizer and Moderna are reporting their vaccines offer protection through at least 6 months. The problem right now are variants, which continue to spread. In fact, the more contagious UK variant is now the dominant version of coronavirus in the US. While limited research shows both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines work against the variants, more research is needed, and there's always a concern a new one will emerge.
Welcome back to DBL. The COVID-19 vaccines have been a light at the end of a very long tunnel, but there's still much to learn as more and more people receive their shots. Now, the CDC just identified nearly 6,000 people who have been fully vaccinated, but who have caught COVID anyway. They're being called breakthrough cases. Around 7% of those people required hospitalization, and 74 people have died. What do we do when we don't know something? We go to someone who does. That's Dr. Payal Kohli. She joins us live. Doc, what do you make of these breakthrough cases, and how concerned about this should we be about a reinfection?
So, Tori, I'm not all that surprised that we have breakthrough cases because we know that no vaccine is 100% effective. In clinical trials, they said this vaccine was about 94-95% effective. In the real world, we found it was about 90% effective. So that means about 10% of people may still have cases after they get vaccinated. What does concern me about this, though, Tori, is the fact that 7% of these people were hospitalized and 1% of them died. Because initially, based on the clinical trials, we thought that the vaccine is 100% effective at preventing death and preventing hospitalization. But in the real world, it turns out that it may not be. Now, we don't exactly know why these people got reinfected, whether it was related to the host or whether it was related to how much virus they were exposed to. Those are things we have to find out. But that's the part that really stuck with me, is that people got hospitalized even after they got the vaccine.
Wow.
So, Doc, we talked about potential side effects in men on this show, but there's recent news about how it might affect women differently. Could you explain this?
Are you asking for Jordan there, Jeff?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So here's what you have to tell her to look out for. So the first is that women are more likely to have side effects from the vaccine. And that could be related to estrogen, or it could be related to the fact that they're more likely to report it. Not that we complain, we're just more vocal about what's going on with us. The second is that some women have actually reported menstrual irregularities after getting the vaccine. This was not reported in the clinical trial, so I think it's still anecdotal. But it could be that the immune activation can affect your menstrual cycle. And third, and importantly, a woman should not get a mammogram within about a month or so of getting the vaccine, because it could cause inflammation in her lymph nodes, which could light up as concerning for cancer on her mammogram and really just be a false positive and really freak people out.
All right.
Good to know.
Well, Doc, the CEO of Pfizer just said that it's likely that people are going to need a third dose within 12 months of getting the vaccine, and that we might also need an annual dose, like a flu shot. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think that this is very likely to happen, Al, and I think the reason is because what we see with natural infection with coronaviruses is that your immunity can fade over time. That's why you get colds over and over again. So we know that the antibodies last 6 months, but they may fade. There's also these new variants coming. That's what that third shot is going to help with, boosting our immune system and also helping protect us against the variants. And I'm sure it'll do wonders for the Pfizer stock prices as well to have this become an annual vaccine.
True, and I think, Al, did you not buy Pfizer?
I did not.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kohli. Missed that one. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that, yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verified.
All right, welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Michelle Millette says, does Paris Hilton's neck get sore from holding her head like that? That was funny. She does do this a lot, doesn't she?
It makes it seem like she's listening, though. I like it.
I think I might actually start that.
Don't they say you should lean forward when somebody's talking?
Okay, let me just say it. Ready? Welcome to DBL, or welcome to DBL.
You know what's awesome?
I like that.
It's criticizing the celebrities that we get on our show.
I'm down with it.
Guys, if you're a celebrity, come on DBL. We'll make fun of you for 30 seconds after.
I wasn't making fun of Paris at all. I think she's doing a really great job with that podcast, really.
Do you?
Oh, boy. All right. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. New details in the split between J-Lo and A-Rod. What might happen with her. Ready for this? $1.8 million ring. Plus, is there still bad blood between Prince William and Harry? Will their brotherly bond ever be fixed? And a big thank you, as always, to our coworker. There's BJ, there's Courtney. What's up, Brianna? We miss you. We're new every day, and we'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. I'm Tori and I'm in for Sam today, and I'm here with Jeff and Al. And we have just got some new details. Buckingham Palace has just released new details about tomorrow's funeral for Prince Philip, who of course passed away last week. Stephanie Jones joins us to give us some insight into the royal funeral. So, Steph, what will Brits be watching for tomorrow? What should we keep our eyes glued for?
Well, Tori, the funeral gives British people and the royal family a chance to say goodbye and pay their respects to Prince Philip. He will be carried in an electric Land Rover, which he helped to design, to St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle for the funeral. And this will be the first time we see Prince Harry and Prince William in public together since March of last year. And as Harry mentioned in his interview with Oprah, there is a bit of distance between the two of them, and the palace also have confirmed that Harry will not be walking with his brother during the funeral procession. Instead, their cousin Peter Phillips will be walking between them, and then once they're inside, Peter will also walk with William and Harry with another cousin. Now, of course, this is going to bring back memories of the heartbreaking images of the boys walking behind their mother's coffin during Princess Diana's funeral. Their uncle was in between them at that time. And another break from tradition, the royal family will not be wearing their usual military uniforms. Instead, the palace said they will be in mourning dress, which is a dark coloured clothing and suits.
So, Steph, real quick, just why do you think the Queen made the decision to have no military? Is it because there's two questions? One, Harry isn't allowed to have that, or also there's Andrew, who is all caught up in this Jeffrey Epstein situation, also going to be there. So is that the reason? What do you think?
You've hit the nail on the head. So normally, traditionally, all members of the royal family that are male serve in one of the forms of military that we have. We did see the Duke of Edinburgh serve 12 years in the Navy during World War II, so wearing uniforms would have been a huge sign of respect to him. But the Queen has actually stepped in here to protect Harry, and it says a lot about their relationship and where it's at, because Harry is the only senior member of the royal family that isn't entitled to wear a military suit. He could have won his 3 medals that he got from his time during Afghanistan, but the Queen decided no, everyone's going to wear mourning suits, so he's not sticking out, and there's no difference between them. What's interesting is, like you said, Andrew, however, is still entitled to wear his, and he was championing to do that, so not good news from his behalf.
Wow. Prince Andrew is not in jail? I don't mean to break from
No, he's not in jail. No, he's not.
He is
Jeff,
not.
rich people don't go to jail.
Interesting.
Grow up. And Steph, I have I'm going to explain society to Jeff later. Rich people never pay any price.
We'll chat at the break.
Yeah. Steph, I have a question. In hip-hop terms, it seems like the brothers have beef, and it seems like it's been there forever, and we talk around it. Do you just think maybe they don't like each other? I think a lot of our viewers probably have a sibling that they're closer to than others, and some that they just flat out don't like. Is this what you've noticed growing up, like they just don't like each other that much?
I think in more recent years, there is definitely a bit of hostility, and I think it's obvious for the public to see. Harry himself said to Oprah in the interview they haven't been speaking, and I think that William definitely takes his role as future king extremely seriously, and Harry has always been the black sheep, so to speak. You know, he's done more of his own thing, and I think as they've got older and their values have definitely separated and Harry's found his own path, that definitely has been trying, I think, for William. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and I hope they take this time to really rebuild those bridges and bonds, because they're siblings after all. Diana wouldn't have wanted that. She'd want them united.
I totally agree with you. Well said. Thank you so much, Steph. We really appreciate your insight on this matter, and I will be watching.
I could have given that insight.
No, you couldn't have. Okay. How could you have done that?
I mean, I know some stuff. It's on the low, though. I don't let people know.
All right, there's more fallout. You all see that face? There was more fallout over the breakup between J-Lo and A-Rod. The couple announced they were ending their 2-year engagement yesterday morning. Now, according to TMZ, Jenny from the block is keeping her rock.
Were you waiting all day to say that?
I didn't write that, but I did really like it.
You delivered it like a PTA mom.
I really liked it. A-Rod proposed with this 15-carat diamond ring back in 2019. It's reportedly worth $1.8 million. TMZ says J-Lo still has it at her home. She's currently filming a movie in the Dominican Republic. Meantime, Madison LaCroix, if you don't know about her, she has broken her silence about the split. A-Rod's friendship with the Southern Charm star was said to be a factor in the breakup. She told Page Six that she wishes...
That's a way to put it.
Yep, the former couple... I'm very diplomatic here. She wishes the former couple the best. Let's just say it in hip-hop terms, they split.
Yeah.
He cheated.
Well, allegedly.
Allegedly, he cheated.
She just said hip-hop terms, they split.
That's as deep as she goes with the genre. Jeff, I want to get your opinion. Obviously, this is an opinion show, but I think if you have a mutual split where you honestly as adults go, hey, I like you as a person, but I think we both agree this isn't working. Hey, here's your stuff back. You left the sweatshirt in my closet. Have a good life. When you keep the ring, I think that's a way to say, hey, you're lucky I'm not going to blow you up in public. This ring is you getting off easy.
I had an ex-girlfriend one time, and she told me that. And you'd think it would sting.
Is that right?
We were friends after that, because I'm like, thank you so much for saying that. Like, you saved me a lot of time and a headache, and we stayed friends after that. But you bring up an interesting question, and I'm going to ask you, Tori. Does she have to give back that ring? They weren't married. Is she entitled to keep that ring if she wants it? So $1.8 million.
So legally, if it's a gift in certain states, because he gifted it to her, she doesn't have to return it. But he does get tax deductible because of that ring and because it's a gift to her. So in some states, people
Did you not answer like a nerd and say, would you keep it?
You really did answer that like a
in some states,
H&R Block representative.
Don't forget, April 16th.
It's April 15th, and I think in some states you don't have to give it back. But I think you're right, it means something if you don't. Mariah Carey famously.
Is it the 15th?
Yes, it's the 15th.
I delay mine. But anyways, would you keep it or not?
I think if there was anger there, you keep it like Mariah Carey, and if not, you give it back, sell it, or make it into
Would Tori keep it if your husband or husband-to-be was cheating with Madison LaCroix?
Or would you say, I don't want anything to remind me of this person?
I think I wouldn't want it to remind me.
What do you mean? You cash that baby in and go to Vegas?
Cash it in Vegas.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll cash it in.
Shop.
All right. Aaron Rodgers will make his final appearance guest hosting Jeopardy tonight. The NFL quarterback hosted the game show for the past 2 weeks. He recently posted a behind-the-scenes look of his podium setup. He's got a bunch of sticky notes, there you go, around the monitor with reminders like slow down, stand up straight, relax, and energy. Rob, I don't know if you can, but we have a sign on ours that's very similar.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that weird? So we have a sign on ours. This is probably specifically for me.
Well, it's the host's.
What do you guys think?
Camera.
So it says smile, slow, viewers, and shorter, meaning...
Tell everybody what that means.
It means smiling, keep it upbeat, slow down. We're not trying to pound anyone's head with like a cement maker.
Does it say anything about your analogies on there? Maybe you should
remember the viewers and also keep your thoughts shorter. So I think that's smart. I didn't really like him as a host, to be super honest.
Really?
Yeah. I think he has no charisma.
Well, I think, I love behind-the-scenes stuff, and I think he did a fine job, right?
I don't think it was great.
Yeah, but I mean, having those notes, I still have notes. We still have them over here. On my computer, I have every day that I read a little quote about, about your attitude, and 10% is what happens to you, 90% is how you react. I still have these notes. People out there think hosting is just like, it comes natural and easy. Just read that and say this. You have somebody in your ear, you're reading these words, you're trying to tell a story, you have 30 seconds in your ear, you're trying to finish up your thoughts. It's a lot harder than people think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have daily affirmations, but getting back to the Aaron Rodgers thing, I know a lot of people say he doesn't have charisma, but what if we saw a young Alex Trebek auditioning? I think people might have said the same thing, as opposed to if we had Jamie Foxx, who's the most charismatic person on the planet, but would that be what the Jeopardy genre calls for? Happy
medium, and there is a change.org petition for this. LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow. Ooh. He's got the right kind of charisma. Has he auditioned yet? Yeah, he's going to be on it, and everybody wants him to be the permanent host, including myself.
Fred Savage.
Oh, he'd be good too.
I get notes from Jeff too. It's Friday. Just get us to the weekend and don't be bad. Thanks a lot. Coming up on DBL.
I use different words.
One man's triumphant story of being freed after serving time in prison for a crime he was falsely accused of. That's coming up next in Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted. And of course, we have our DBL staff. They're working hard at home during the pandemic. You keep us all going. There's Aaron right there in a cute little burnt sienna shirt. We'll see you right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Everyone who gets the COVID-19 vaccine fills out a checklist to determine if there's any reason you shouldn't get the vaccine. One of the questions asks, have you ever had a positive test for COVID-19, or has a doctor ever told you that you had COVID-19? So what happens if you get COVID-19 after your first shot? We are here to verify, do I need to restart my vaccine if I contract COVID-19 between doses? With Verify, we like to show you our sources up front. For this story, we consulted the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Amish Adalja. He's a senior scholar in infectious disease critical care and emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. If you catch COVID-19 between your 2 doses, you should self-isolate for at least 10 days.
You want to make sure that you're not contagious to people that are vaccinating you.
If your second dose is supposed to happen while you're still contagious, you will need to reschedule. While the CDC says it is best to get your second shot 3 to 4 weeks after your first one, health officials do say it is still effective up to 6 weeks after your first dose.
There's nothing to worry about if you get COVID between doses. You can still get your second dose and get protected.
So we can verify. No, you do not have to restart your vaccine if you contract COVID-19 between doses. Simply get your second shot after self-isolating.
DBL, imagine a man you've never met points to you in court and says, you're a murderer. Well, it happened to Richard Miles. Earlier, Sam and I spoke with him in today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted.
May 15th, 1994. Shots ring out at a gas station in Dallas, Texas. 19-year-old Richard Miles is walking by a friend's house a couple miles away.
The next thing I noticed was a helicopter sounding in the air and the light then shining on me.
Witnesses say a tall, dark-skinned black man opened fire on 2 men inside a parked car, killing 1.
And the next thing I noticed, I am getting out of the police car at a Texaco station where a gunshot residue test is conducted on my hands while I'm in handcuffs.
There are 10 witnesses. Only one of them picks Richard.
Why Walker Steinman was the only witness behind the Texaco. If when they had to pick me up, if they would have took me straight to homicide, not taking me to the crime scene and showing me to a witness, then I would not have been picked out.
Richard stands trial for murder and attempted murder.
My alibi witnesses came to testify. There was no gun ever found at the scene of the crime. Fingerprints at the scene of the crime were not mine.
But the prosecution tells a different story, saying there was gunshot residue on Richard's right hand.
Positive in my right hand, negative anywhere else. Number one, I'm left-handed.
Then, the DA's star witness, Marcus Thurman, points to Richard while on the stand when asked who was the shooter.
They came back with a total of 60 years.
For years, Richard writes hundreds of letters hoping someone will listen. Then one day, a trip to the prison barber changes his course.
Then pulled me to the side and he said, man, if you're really wrongfully incarcerated, they got an organization called Centurion Ministries. Because of Ben, I wrote them.
Centurion Ministries sent him a box of evidence from his case. In it, he finds documents never given to his attorney during trial. On October 12, 2009, after 15 years, Richard is released from prison. 4 months later, Marcus Thurman recants his in-court identification of Richard.
They would talk to Marcus Thurman. He would then tell them, he said, well, you really need to go talk to the prosecutor, because he was the one that told me to go in there and point Richard out.
Then, multiple experts, including the state's expert from his original trial, say the residue on Richard's hand that night is not from a gun. In 2012, the Texas Court of Appeals declares Richard is actually innocent.
Richard, welcome to DBL. You've been very vocal about how prison changed you. Your mom has even said part of her son is still dead. That is such a profound statement. Can you elaborate on what that means?
The reality is when an individual goes to prison, who that person was before prison, be it their dreams, aspirations, and colleges, it all stops at the point of incarceration. And when there is no systems within the prison system to help them rebound once they get out, that person is literally dead. And that is, in essence, what happened to me.
So Richard, this is weird. The prosecutor of your case actually follows you on Facebook, but you two have never directly spoken. Why do you think he follows you?
I would like to know that answer as well. You know, I think he just understands that what he did was wrong, and he might just be really seeing what I'm doing now after the life has been given back to me.
Did you ever want to reach out to him yourself and have a couple questions for him? I imagine I would.
In this space, I do. You know, I feel like accountability is really key for right now, transparency. And whether it was a lack of effort on his part or other extenuating circumstances, I think that piece needs to get out.
And I know that no amount in the world could somehow compensate for the years that you lost, that were taken away from you. But the state has given you a $1.2 million compensation for your time served. It also gives you a monthly annuity. How do those payments make you feel?
The reality is everything that I have comes from a dark space. And so while I do have the resources and I was given the resources, it reminds me of a time when my life was laid stagnant and dormant. But it does provide resources in order to make change for other people that might be going through the same things that I went through.
And speaking of change, since your release, you started Miles of Freedom. It's a nonprofit that helps prisoners adjust after they are released. The program brings you back to prison for visits, obviously. Is this triggering in some way, or are you strictly there just to help other inmates?
I think it's a two-edged sword, being that iron sharpens iron. I go back into the prisons to minister and to be a beacon of light, and I get encouragement from those men as well. Miles of Freedom works to work with people that are coming home from prison, because we understand that's a gap in the space of criminal justice, and that's where we find our best needs and services fall in.
Wow, Richard, you amaze me. Despite everything that you have gone through, you've picked yourself up, you're helping other people, you're a champion for change, trying to create reform in the prison system. I hope that everyone watching right now can go and learn more about Richard's organization, because it is changing lives. So visit milesoffreedom.org. Richard, thank you for joining us today, for sharing your story. You are incredible,
amazing,
my man. You
amazing.
are incredible. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
It was our honor. We'll be right back.
It's looking more likely that we'll need a booster shot of the coronavirus vaccine, at least when it comes to Pfizer's vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Pfizer's CEO now says that people who receive the Pfizer vaccine will likely need a third dose between 6 and 12 months after initial vaccination. That third shot is needed to fight against coronavirus variants that have developed. After that, he said getting your coronavirus vaccine would likely become an annual event, kind of like getting your flu shot every year. But researchers still don't know for sure how long protection against the virus will last. That's because not all vaccines and not all viruses are the same. Some, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, known as the MMR, gives lifetime protection, while the flu is only seasonal. So far, both Pfizer and Moderna are reporting their vaccines offer protection through at least 6 months. The problem right now are variants, which continue to spread. In fact, the more contagious UK variant is now the dominant version of coronavirus in the US. While limited research shows both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines work against the variants, more research is needed, and there's always a concern a new one will emerge.
Welcome back to DBL. Did you know regular exercise can help protect you against severe COVID? We're chatting about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness, presented by QB. Now, the British Journal studied almost 50,000 people who developed COVID-19, and their study found that those who had been the most active or exercised before catching the virus were far less likely to be hospitalized. People who didn't move as much were more likely to experience severe complications. Regular exercise, whether going to the gym, walking, biking, or swimming, is really more important than ever. QB is changing the way the world thinks about fitness, regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. I was telling you guys, I think you and both of you, I'm taking cardio bar.
What is that? And that's bar, B-A-R-R-E.
Yeah,
right?
like a ballet bar, and you go to where you're fatigued, your muscle like almost can't take it anymore, and then you're done.
So you pay to go to a room that just has a bar in it?
Yeah.
Do you not have anything that's a bar in your home?
No, I do it at home with a chair alone.
Maybe you should go to a couple.
To mingle.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What do you guys exercise? Anything? Yoga?
I do yoga in the morning, yeah.
Yeah, I do the bike, and that's why I like the QB idea. I like to keep my legs moving because I can think about other things. Well, my lower half just does what it wants.
Wow, like
that didn't sound great.
Like a centaur.
But
yeah, that didn't sound great.
I will try your bar and chair thing.
Excellent. I'll give you the site. We'll be right back.
Got those 1700s workouts.
We'll be right back.
Consideration is brought to you by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying. Does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. We have a crazy viral video to share. A bobcat attacks a woman. Her husband steps in to try and help. The whole thing is caught on camera. Take a look.
Watch out! Oh, shoot that! Get out! Watch out! Watch out! It's a bobcat attacked my wife! A bobcat!
It was cool because it was like he was holding it up like Simba, but then like a weird director's alt ending, he ends up throwing it.
It reminded me of like an old Steve Martin, like the Jerk movie or something, where they're whipping around. You take it and like throw it. And it's hilarious.
Well, and everyone, the bobcat's okay. Everyone's okay. We're not laughing at the bobcat or that.
I am. Yeah, that's definitely.
I got in trouble on Twitter already about that.
Twitter's always for trouble.
All right. Well, we hope everyone's well. We hope everyone has a good weekend. Goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. DBL, we're new every day. We'll see you Monday, y'all. Same time, same place. Have a good weekend.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
A deadly mass shooting in Indianapolis leaves families waiting to find out if their loved ones are okay.
I'm praying the whole time, trying not to get upset.
In today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted, a man spends 15 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit.
Fingerprints at the scene of the crime were not mine.
Did A-Rod cheat on J-Lo? We're talking about the rumors. Plus, is J-Lo really keeping that massive ring? And the Paris Hilton is on DBL today.
It was one of the most empowering days of my life.
Real, honest, entertaining, live.
Daily Boss Live starts right now.
3, 2.
Thank you, Paris Hilton and Michael Dean. Same sentence. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Friday, April 16th. I'm Tori. I'm in for Sam today, and I'm here with Jeff and Al.
Hello.
Hello. Let's get started because, boy, what a tough and tragic scene in Indianapolis. I'm sure y'all have seen the headlines. There was a mass shooting at FedEx facility there, and at least 8 people were killed by a gunman who opened fire before taking his own life. A number of others were hurt. Now, this is at least the 45th mass shooting in America in the past month since the Atlanta area spa shooting on March 16th. That's according to CNN, which considers a mass shooting any incident where 4 or more people, excluding the gunman, are shot and wounded or killed. We also came across this map that highlights just some of the mass shootings, and you can see it is all across this country. Now, some of the witnesses at last night's shooting are speaking out about what they saw, like this guy who spoke to ABC News. Take a listen.
They didn't sound like gunshots at first. They made, because there was a loud clang after the first 2, and then my buddy Levi stood up as he was like kind of squatting at the bench, and then looked over and out into the parking lot. Didn't see anything yet, and then we heard 3 more shots. And then my buddy Levi saw someone running out of the building, and then more shots went off. Somebody went behind their car to the trunk and got another gun, and then I saw 1 body on the floor.
To get another gun. Well, a lot of families were waiting to be reunited with loved ones who were in the FedEx facility. They waited at a nearby hotel where there was a unification center and it was open. And a lot of the families, though, were unable to contact their loved ones because of a FedEx policy at that facility that prohibits workers from actually carrying their cell phones on the job. Now, some of the family members spoke to the news right after finding out their loved ones were okay. Take a look at this.
But it is a sigh of relief just to hear something. They often say, or they used to say, no news is good news. That's not always true. That's not always true. You know, so I'm hoping and praying that the families get some type of information soon.
First off, our thoughts and prayers, which don't do anything but still help, go to Indianapolis, and we are thinking of all of our DBL Nation there. Al, Jeff, another one. How many do we have this year?
147 this year. 612 last year, 424 last year. Mass shootings, not people dead, just the incident itself.
Just
the incident itself. It's getting to a point where we played that last clip before the woman of that guy describing what happened, and he was describing a movie.
That's what I noticed.
No affect.
Nothing.
Yes.
Hey, there's a guy there. He was dead. He went and got another gun. Thanks for the interview. I'm gonna go get a slice of pizza.
I saw that.
That's how numb we are in America to this. And I haven't talked to you, I don't think, Tori, on this show about my stance, where I am, because the gun laws aren't working, right? Whatever we think that we could change as a country and give it to the government as an idea, it's not working. Whether you're red or blue, you're not taking away my guns. I'm not saying that. We just want to do this. No, it's not okay. We're at war with each other just about this incident alone. I want swift and harsh punishment, and we haven't had a chance to debate this. I want an execution within a week if you have a mass shooting. That's 4 or more people shot, killed, or wounded. I want them dead within the week. I don't want a Netflix special about them a week later. I just watched a special about John Wayne Gacy. What am I doing? What am I watching? I'm part of the problem. Netflix, all my suggestions are How to Catch a Killer, This Murderer. America's obsessed with it. I want them dead and gone, and we need to strike fear into some people, and that they're not going to do it. Like a lot of people, I think, are copycat killers, and they want this to become legendary. They want their name to live on. They want to be interviewed in jail. 50 years from now to have family? Charles Manson has family out there. He has a chance to have sex in jail. These people get to live a full life. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but the solutions that we're giving aren't working. We need to shake it up a little bit.
Can I ask you this, and Al, I want to get your opinion.
Sorry, guys, sorry.
But no, I totally understand your passion about this.
I hope that you would have passion about this.
We're not numb, and I hope that people at home understand that we should still fight. We should still not get bitter. My question is this: are you suggesting there be no trial?
No. I'm suggesting no trial. You're dead within a week.
Who is the judge, juror, and executioner?
The government.
What does that mean? Like which branch?
If you shoot or kill, like the definition of a mass shooting is 4 or more people are killed or wounded. If you are accused of that, if 4 or more people are dead or wounded, when you leave the scene of a crime with a gun, 100% knowing it's you are dead within that week.
So you're just getting rid of due process?
Yes.
But Jeff, I think your frustration is clearly palpable, and I think a lot of people feel it. But I think that we tend to forget the power that we have as the people. We use the term the government, but I mean, I think we've clearly seen that our representatives kind of do what we want them to do. When we eventually decided we want legalized marijuana, that was done. That would have seemed crazy 10 years ago. The idea of gay marriage would have seemed insane, even when Will and Grace was on TV. It's been law for a long time. No one even talks about it anymore. When the people stop fighting amongst each other and say we want this done, things will get done. But that little summation, Jeff, you had about don't take away my guns. We don't want to change them. We just want to change these laws. And that while that little scrum is going on, we're going to continue to have this. When we all decide, and it'll be obvious when we're done, that this needs to change, it'll change overnight.
I agree, and in response to what you say, I completely understand why you're saying that. I also completely believe in due process in our Constitution in order to keep us a civilized country, and I also think some states don't even have death penalties anymore. But man, do I understand why you're saying that.
And it's not, and I'm not even mad. I'm throwing out an idea.
No, I totally
because the ideas we have aren't working. We shut down our country, and I know we got to run. We shut down our country at what number? How many deaths? How many people got COVID in our country that we completely shut down the country? Was it 100,000? What number do we need to get to with mass shootings that the government steps in and says, everybody hold what they're doing. We need to do something about this right now.
Because right now it's insane. Completely agree. Did you all see this? This is actually Dr. Fauci and Representative Jim Jordan. They started fighting at a congressional hearing about the pandemic. Just like Jeff was saying, when is it going to open? The whole thing lasted about 7 minutes before Representative Maxine Waters had to cut them off. It's feisty. Let's take a look.
What measure, what standard, what objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You know, you're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's obvious.
You're making this a personal thing, and it isn't.
It's not a personal thing.
No, you are. That is exactly what you're doing.
The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the question. What does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
All right, so I just want to say quickly, I agree with Jim Jordan in the way of I want to know when we're going to open, right? And I want the answer to that question from Dr. Fauci, and I get his frustration. But bullying Dr. Fauci ain't going to make it any easier. That's what I think creates the divide that you hate so much, that type of rhetoric. How is that going to help anything?
It's not, and I've learned that, Al, I want to get your take on how I approach subjects. I'm very passionate, and sometimes I speak like Mr. Jordan, but when you see it from the outside
you can really see it.
You're like, man, you're not getting anywhere with that rhetoric.
No.
You're not getting anywhere trying to bully Dr. Fauci.
That's the frustration, Jeff, is I feel like that was performative because we can't have the answer to that because we don't know how many people are going to choose to be vaccinated. He could give an exact number. If we are forcing Americans to be vaccinated, he could say we'll have this many done by this date and we can reopen. But we don't know how many people in states where it's mandatory to lock down and states where it's optional to lock down. Yeah. We don't have that
number. He's not a wizard.
So it's just a performance because these are the people we send to Congress. When we want people that get things done, like our boss Bert, that came in and got the show together, you see how we're dressed now? Things are different. Look at our desk.
By the way, where's Bert?
Yeah,
he's not even here.
Yeah,
Give him a shout out.
what's going on? Yeah, come on up on DBL. J-Lo and A-Rod are over, but will she keep, the huge rock? And what about that reality TV star? Did she really canoodle with A-Rod? Did I really just say canoodle?
Yes, you did.
And
older woman.
I didn't write it. And Paris Hilton is on DBL for the first time. She's telling us how she's fighting for abused kids and revealing how Paris Hilton deals with stress.
Closed captioning provided by
Listen.
Everyone who gets the COVID-19 vaccine fills out a checklist to determine if there's any reason you shouldn't get the vaccine. One of the questions asks, have you ever had a positive test for COVID-19, or has a doctor ever told you that you had COVID-19? So what happens if you get COVID-19 after your first shot? We are here to verify, do I need to restart my vaccine if I contract COVID-19 between doses? With Verify, we like to show you our sources up front. For this story, we consulted the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Amish Adalja. He's a senior scholar in infectious disease critical care and emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. If you catch COVID-19 between your 2 doses, you should self-isolate for at least 10 days.
You want to make sure that you're not contagious to people that are vaccinating you.
If your second dose is supposed to happen while you're still contagious, you will need to reschedule. While the CDC says it is best to get your second shot 3 to 4 weeks after your first one, health officials do say it is still effective up to 6 weeks after your first dose.
There's nothing to worry about if you get COVID between doses. You can still get your second dose and get protected.
So we can verify. No, you do not have to restart your vaccine if you contract COVID-19 between doses. Simply get your second shot after self-isolating.
Welcome back to DBL. A lot has happened since Paris Hilton's rise to fame in the early 2000s. She's now a DJ and businesswoman, but she also fights for boarding school reform after sharing her own story of abuse she suffered as a teen. So, how is Paris able to do it all? She told us her secret earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Joining us now is Paris Hilton. Thank you so much, Paris, for stopping by. Now, we can't wait to hear about your secret to stress relief. I think we could all use it right now amidst a pandemic. But first, speaking of stressful, as a fierce advocate for boarding school reform, what were you feeling last week when Utah passed a law that you championed, by the way? I'm so proud of you, for more oversight to prevent the abuse.
Thank you. It was one of the most empowering days of my life, just to know that everything that happened to me back when I was a teenager at the school would now be illegal today. So it was stressful as well, though, just having to get up on stage and do a whole speech in front of the governor and all the senators and everyone there. But I have just never been so proud of my life, and I've been working so hard to pass this bill. And next, we're going to be taking it to a federal level so that in all 50 states, it'll be illegal to abuse children the way they are.
Unbelievable, Paris.
Yeah, I know that you've heard from so many people who have been in your situation, but the amount of truth that you actually shared just liberated so many people, and I know they're very, very grateful for that. So with your podcast and documentary, you also reveal that the world underneath your picture-perfect life that we all saw, you actually struggled deeply while you were in the spotlight. So walk us through some of those struggles and how you ended up in a better place now.
It was very difficult to do in the beginning because I've always wanted to portray this, perfect fairy tale life. But in reality, I had been through so many traumatic experiences and, so many things have happened to me that have been very painful and hurtful and have stressed me out. And it's been very hard, but I think it's important to talk about things, and doing the documentary was so healing. I've never felt better or been in a better place in my life, and I'm very happy.
So Paris, let's go back to you coming up again, right? Because you were pioneering social media, you were all over the tabloids. What do you think it would have been like coming up with social media the way it is today? Because it wasn't really prevalent back then.
I feel very lucky that I grew up before all this social media, because I just can't imagine the stress of being, a teenage girl and having to deal with the pressures of social media, with people, online trolls, and having to care about likes, and just, it's so much stress. So I can't, my heart really goes out to, all the young people who are dealing with that right now.
You just hit the nail on the head. There is a stigma, right? And we talk about mental health on this show all the time. I talk about the fact that I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression, I deal with stress. So tell me more about your supplement, because I really do believe that now more than ever, we need it.
Well, with Reset, I actually was a customer at first. I was on set shooting the billboards for my documentary, and I was so exhausted and so stressed out. And then the photographer, Brendan Forbes, told me about Reset, and he was like, try these supplements. And I took them, and then literally within an hour, I was feeling just less stressed. I was having focus. I was feeling just more alive and happy. And I love the product so much that now I decided to be an investor.
Wow. Well, before we let you go, Paris, I just have to ask, because you have this podcast, and it's not just that you're being transparent with your testimony, but you're bringing other people on to do the same. And I call my podcast my therapy. That's a part of how I keep mentally well. So I'm curious, who is your dream guest for your podcast?
I think Madonna would be a lot of fun to interview.
Madonna would be gold.
Yes.
I can't believe she hasn't been on your podcast yet. Let's put that out to the universe.
I don't even know if she does podcasts, but that would be pretty cool.
If anybody can make it happen, you can make it happen. Let's get Madonna on your podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here in DBL. If you're like us and you cannot get enough of Paris, make sure to check out This Is Paris, her podcast and documentary series on YouTube. If you want to unwind like Paris too and de-stress, which we all deserve that self-care, head over to parisreset.com for more info. Their website is on your screen. DBL will be right back. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you. Bye.
It's only a matter of time until you're...
It's looking more likely that we'll need a booster shot of the coronavirus vaccine, at least when it comes to Pfizer's vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Pfizer's CEO now says that people who receive the Pfizer vaccine will likely need a third dose between 6 and 12 months after initial vaccination. That third shot is needed to fight against coronavirus variants that have developed. After that, he said getting your coronavirus vaccine would likely become an annual event, kind of like getting your flu shot every year. But researchers still don't know for sure how long protection against the virus will last. That's because not all vaccines and not all viruses are the same. Some, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, known as the MMR, gives lifetime protection, while the flu is only seasonal. So far, both Pfizer and Moderna are reporting their vaccines offer protection through at least 6 months. The problem right now are variants, which continue to spread. In fact, the more contagious UK variant is now the dominant version of coronavirus in the US. While limited research shows both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines work against the variants, more research is needed, and there's always a concern a new one will emerge.
Welcome back to DBL. The COVID-19 vaccines have been a light at the end of a very long tunnel, but there's still much to learn as more and more people receive their shots. Now, the CDC just identified nearly 6,000 people who have been fully vaccinated, but who have caught COVID anyway. They're being called breakthrough cases. Around 7% of those people required hospitalization, and 74 people have died. What do we do when we don't know something? We go to someone who does. That's Dr. Payal Kohli. She joins us live. Doc, what do you make of these breakthrough cases, and how concerned about this should we be about a reinfection?
So, Tori, I'm not all that surprised that we have breakthrough cases because we know that no vaccine is 100% effective. In clinical trials, they said this vaccine was about 94-95% effective. In the real world, we found it was about 90% effective. So that means about 10% of people may still have cases after they get vaccinated. What does concern me about this, though, Tori, is the fact that 7% of these people were hospitalized and 1% of them died. Because initially, based on the clinical trials, we thought that the vaccine is 100% effective at preventing death and preventing hospitalization. But in the real world, it turns out that it may not be. Now, we don't exactly know why these people got reinfected, whether it was related to the host or whether it was related to how much virus they were exposed to. Those are things we have to find out. But that's the part that really stuck with me, is that people got hospitalized even after they got the vaccine.
Wow.
So, Doc, we talked about potential side effects in men on this show, but there's recent news about how it might affect women differently. Could you explain this?
Are you asking for Jordan there, Jeff?
Yes.
Yes. So here's what you have to tell her to look out for. So the first is that women are more likely to have side effects from the vaccine. And that could be related to estrogen, or it could be related to the fact that they're more likely to report it. Not that we complain, we're just more vocal about what's going on with us. The second is that some women have actually reported menstrual irregularities after getting the vaccine. This was not reported in the clinical trials, so I think it's still anecdotal. But it could be that the immune activation can affect your menstrual cycle. And third, and importantly, a woman should not get a mammogram within about a month or so of getting the vaccine, because it could cause inflammation in her lymph nodes, which could light up as concerning for cancer on her mammogram and really just be a false positive and really freak people out.
All right.
Good to know.
Well, Doc, the CEO of Pfizer just said that it's likely that people are going to need a third dose within 12 months of getting the vaccine, and that we might also need an annual dose, like a flu shot. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think that this is very likely to happen, Al, and I think the reason is because what we see with natural infection with coronaviruses is that your immunity can fade over time. That's why you get colds over and over again. So we know that the antibodies last 6 months, but they may fade. There's also these new variants coming. That's what that third shot is going to help with, boosting our immune system and also helping protect us against the variants. And I'm sure it'll do wonders for the Pfizer stock prices as well to have this become an annual vaccine.
True, and I think, Al, did you not buy Pfizer?
I did not.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kohli. Missed that one. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying. Does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verified.
All right, welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Michelle Millette says, does Paris Hilton's neck get sore from holding her head like that? That was funny. She does do this a lot, doesn't she?
It makes it seem like she's listening, though. I like it.
I think I might actually start that.
Don't they say you should lean forward when somebody's talking?
Okay, let me just say it. Ready? Welcome to DBL, or welcome to DBL.
You know what's awesome?
I like that.
It's criticizing the celebrities that we get on our show.
I'm down with it.
Guys, if you're a celebrity, come on DBL. We'll make fun of you for 30 seconds after.
I wasn't making fun of Paris at all. I think she's doing a really great job with that podcast, really.
Do you?
Oh, boy. All right. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. New details in the split between J-Lo and A-Rod. What might happen with her. Ready for this? $1.8 million ring. Plus, is there still bad blood between Prince William and Harry? Will their brotherly bond ever be fixed? And a big thank you, as always, to our coworker. There's BJ, there's Courtney. What's up, Brianna? We miss you. We're new every day, and we'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. I'm Tori and I'm in for Sam today, and I'm here with Jeff and Al. And we have just got some new details. Buckingham Palace has just released new details about tomorrow's funeral for Prince Philip, who of course passed away last week. Stephanie Jones joins us to give us some insight into the royal funeral. So, Steph, what will Brits be watching for tomorrow? What should we keep our eyes glued for?
Well, Tori, the funeral gives British people and the royal family a chance to say goodbye and pay their respects to Prince Philip. He will be carried in an electric Land Rover, which he helped to design, to St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle for the funeral. And this will be the first time we see Prince Harry and Prince William in public together since March of last year. And as Harry mentioned in his interview with Oprah, there is a bit of distance between the two of them, and the palace also have confirmed that Harry will not be walking with his brother during the funeral procession. Instead, their cousin Peter Phillips will be walking between them, and then once they're inside, Peter will also walk with William and Harry with another cousin. Now, of course, this is going to bring back memories of the heartbreaking images of the boys walking behind their mother's coffin during Princess Diana's funeral. Their uncle was in between them at that time. And another break from tradition, the royal family will not be wearing their usual military uniforms. Instead, the palace said they will be in mourning dress, which is a dark coloured clothing and suits.
So, Steph, real quick, just why do you think the Queen made the decision to have no military? Is it because there's two questions? One, Harry isn't allowed to have that, or also there's Andrew, who is all caught up in this Jeffrey Epstein situation, also going to be there. So is that the reason? What do you think?
You've hit the nail on the head. So normally, traditionally, all members of the royal family that are male serve in one of the forms of military that we have. We did see the Duke of Edinburgh serve 12 years in the Navy during World War II, so wearing uniforms would have been a huge sign of respect to him. But the Queen has actually stepped in here to protect Harry, and it says a lot about their relationship and where it's at, because Harry is the only senior member of the royal family that isn't entitled to wear a military suit. He could have won his 3 medals that he got from his time during Afghanistan, but the Queen decided no, everyone's going to wear mourning suits, so he's not sticking out, and there's no difference between them. What's interesting is, like you said, Andrew, however, is still entitled to wear his, and he was championing to do that, so not good news from his behalf.
Wow. Prince Andrew is not in jail? I don't mean to break from
No, he's not in jail. No, he's not.
He is
Jeff, not. Rich people don't go to jail.
Interesting.
Grow up. And Steph, I have I'm going to explain society to Jeff later. Rich people never pay any price.
We'll chat at the break.
Yeah. Steph, I have a question. In hip-hop terms, it seems like the brothers have beef, and it seems like it's been there forever, and we talk around it. Do you just think maybe they don't like each other? I think a lot of our viewers probably have a sibling that they're closer to than others, and some that they just flat out don't like. Is this what you've noticed growing up? Like they just don't like each other that much?
I think in more recent years, there is definitely a bit of hostility, and I think it's obvious for the public to see. Harry himself said to Oprah in the interview they haven't been speaking, and I think that William definitely takes his role as future king extremely seriously, and Harry has always been the black sheep, so to speak. You know, he's done more of his own thing, and I think as they've got older and their values have definitely separated and Harry's found his own path, that definitely has been trying, I think, for William. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and I hope they take this time to really rebuild those bridges and bonds, because they're siblings after all. Diana wouldn't have wanted that. She'd want them united.
I totally agree with you. Well said. Thank you so much, Steph. We really appreciate your insight on this matter, and I will be watching.
I could have given that insight.
No, you couldn't have. Okay. How could you have done that?
I mean, I know some stuff. It's on the low, though. I don't let people know.
All right, there's more fallout. You all see that face? There was more fallout over the breakup between J-Lo and A-Rod. The couple announced they were ending their 2-year engagement yesterday morning. Now, according to TMZ, Jenny from the block is keeping her rock.
Were you waiting all day to say that?
Yes. I didn't write that, but I did really like it.
A-Rod, you delivered it like a PTA mom.
I really liked it. A-Rod proposed with this 15 15-carat diamond ring back in 2019. It's reportedly worth $1.8 million. TMZ says J-Lo still has it at her home. She's currently filming a movie in the Dominican Republic. Meantime, Madison LaCroix, if you don't know about her, she has broken her silence about the split. A-Rod's friendship with the Southern Charm star was said to be a factor in the breakup. She told Page Six that she wishes—
That's a way to put it.
Yep, the former couple— I'm very diplomatic here. She wishes the former couple the best. Let's just say it in hip-hop terms, they split.
Yeah.
He cheated.
Yeah, well, allegedly.
Allegedly, he cheated.
She just said hip-hop terms, they split.
That's as deep as she goes with the genre. Jeff, I want to get your opinion. Obviously, this is an opinion show, but I think if you have a mutual split where you honestly, as adults, go, hey, I like you as a person, but I think we both agree this isn't working. Hey, here's your stuff back. You left the sweatshirt in my closet. Have a good life. When you keep the ring, I think that's a way to say, hey, you're lucky I'm not going to blow you up in public. This ring is you getting off easy.
I had an ex-girlfriend one time, and she told me that. And you'd think it would sting.
Is that right?
We were friends after that, because I'm like, thank you so much for saying that. Like, you saved me a lot of time and a headache, and we stayed friends after that. But you bring up an interesting question, and I'm going to ask you, Tori. Does she have to give back that ring? They weren't married. Is she entitled to keep that ring if she wants it?
So
$1.8 million.
So legally, if it's a gift in certain states, because he gifted it to her, she doesn't have to return it. But he does get tax deductible because of that ring and because it's a gift to her. So in some states, people
Did you not answer like a nerd and say, would you keep it?
You really did answer that like a H&R Block representative.
Don't forget, April 16th.
It's April 15th, and I think in some states you don't have to give it back. But I think you're right, it means something if you don't. Mariah Carey famously—
Is it the 15th?
Yes, it's the 15th.
I delay mine. But anyways, would you keep it or not?
I think if there was anger there, you keep it like Mariah Carey, and if not, you give it back, sell it, or make it into—
Would Tori keep it if your husband or husband-to-be was cheating with Madison LaCroix?
Or would you say, I don't want anything to remind me of this person?
I think I wouldn't want it to remind me.
What do you mean? You cash that baby in and go to Vegas?
Cash it in Vegas.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll cash it.
Shop.
All right. Aaron Rodgers will make his final appearance guest hosting Jeopardy tonight. The NFL quarterback hosted the game show for the past 2 weeks. He recently posted a behind-the-scenes look of his podium setup. He's got a bunch of sticky notes, there you go, around the monitor with reminders like slow down, stand up straight, relax, and energy. Rob, I don't know if you can, but we have a sign on ours that's very similar.
Oh, yes.
Isn't that weird? So we have a sign on ours. This is probably specifically for me.
Well, it's the host's.
What do you guys think?
Camera.
So it says smile, slow, viewers, and shorter, meaning—
Tell everybody what that means.
It means smiling, keep it upbeat, slow down. We're not trying to pound anyone's head with like a cement maker.
Does it say anything about your analogies on there? Maybe you should add
Remember
to
the
that.
viewers and also keep your thoughts shorter. So I think that's smart. I didn't really like him as a host, to be super honest.
Really?
Yeah. I think he has no charisma.
Well, I think, I love behind-the-scenes stuff, and I think he did a fine job, right?
I don't think it was great.
Yeah, but I mean, having those notes, I still have notes. We still have them over here. On my computer, I have every day that I read a little quote about, about your attitude, and 10% is what happens to you, 90% is how you react. I still have these notes. People out there think hosting is just like, it comes natural and easy. Just read that and say this. You have somebody in your ear, you're reading these words, you're trying to tell a story, you have 30 seconds in your ear, you're trying to finish up your thoughts. It's a lot harder than people think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have daily affirmations, but getting back to the Aaron Rodgers thing, I know a lot of people say he doesn't have charisma, but what if we saw a young Alex Trebek auditioning? I think people might have said the same thing, as opposed to if we had Jamie Foxx, who's the most charismatic person on the planet, but would that be what the Jeopardy genre calls for? Happy
medium, and there is a change.org petition for this. LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow.
Ooh.
He's got the right kind of charisma.
Has he auditioned yet?
Yeah, he's going to be on it, and everybody wants him to be the permanent host, including myself.
Fred Savage.
Oh, he'd be good too.
I get notes from Jeff too. It's Friday. Just get us to the weekend and don't be bad. Thanks a lot. Coming up on DBL.
I use different words.
One man's triumphant story being freed after serving time in prison for a crime he was falsely accused of. That's coming up next in Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted. And of course, we have our DBL staff. They're working hard at home during the pandemic. You keep us all going. There's Aaron right there in a cute little burnt sienna shirt. We'll see you right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Everyone who gets the COVID-19 vaccine fills out a checklist to determine if there's any reason you shouldn't get the vaccine. One of the questions asks, have you ever had a positive test for COVID-19, or has a doctor ever told you that you had COVID-19? So what happens if you get COVID-19 after your first shot? We are here to verify, do I need to restart my vaccine if I contract COVID-19 between doses? With Verify, we like to show you our sources up front. For this story, we consulted the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Amish Adalja. He's a senior scholar in infectious disease critical care and emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. If you catch COVID-19 between your 2 doses, you should self-isolate for at least 10 days.
You want to make sure that you're not contagious to people that are vaccinating you.
If your second dose is supposed to happen while you're still contagious, you will need to reschedule. While the CDC says it is best to get your second shot 3 to 4 weeks after your first one, health officials do say it is still effective up to 6 weeks after your first dose.
There's nothing to worry about if you get COVID between doses. You can still get your second dose and get protected.
So we can verify. No, you do not have to restart your vaccine if you contract COVID-19 between doses. Simply get your second shot after self-isolating.
Welcome back to DBL. Imagine a man you've never met points to you in court and says, you're a murderer. Well, it happened to Richard Miles. Earlier, Sam and I spoke with him in today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted.
May 15th, 1994. Shots ring out at a gas station in Dallas, Texas. 19-year-old Richard Miles is walking by a friend's house a couple miles away.
The next thing I noticed was a helicopter sounding in the air and the light then shining on me.
Witnesses say a tall, dark-skinned black man opened fire on 2 men inside a parked car, killing 1.
And the next thing I noticed, I am getting out of the police car at a Texaco station where a gunshot residue test is conducted on my hands while I'm in handcuffs.
There are 10 witnesses. Only one of them picks Richard.
Why Walker Sturman was the only witness behind the Texaco. If when they had to pick me up, if they would have took me straight to homicide, not taking me to the crime scene and showing me to a witness, then I would not have been picked out.
Richard stands trial for murder and attempted murder.
My alibi witnesses came to testify. There was no gun ever found at the scene of the crime. Fingerprints at the scene of the crime were not mine.
But the prosecution tells a different story, saying there was gunshot residue on Richard's right hand.
Positive in my right hand, negative anywhere else. Number one, I'm left-handed.
Then, the DA's star witness, Marcus Thurman, points to Richard while on the stand when asked who was the shooter.
They came back with a total of 60 years.
For years, Richard writes hundreds of letters hoping someone will listen. Then one day, a trip to the prison barber changes his course.
Then pulled me to the side and he said, man, if you're really wrongfully incarcerated, they got an organization called Centurion Ministries. Because of Ben, I wrote them.
Centurion Ministries sent him a box of evidence from his case. In it, he finds documents never given to his attorney during trial. On October 12, 2009, after 15 years, Richard is released from prison. 4 months later, Marcus Thurman recants his in-court identification of Richard.
They would talk to Marcus Thurman. He would then tell them, he said, well, you really need to go talk to the prosecutor, because he was the one that told me to go in there and point Richard out.
Then, multiple experts, including the state's expert from his original trial, say the residue on Richard's hand that night is not from a gun. In 2012, the Texas Court of Appeals declares Richard is actually innocent.
Richard, welcome to DBL. You've been very vocal about how prison changed you. Your mom has even said part of her son is still dead. That is such a profound statement. Can you elaborate on what that means?
The reality is when an individual goes to prison, who that person was before prison, be it their dreams, aspirations, and colleges, it all stops at the point of incarceration. And when there is no systems within the prison system to help them rebound once they get out, that person is literally dead. And that is, in essence, what happened to me.
So, Richard, this is weird. The prosecutor of your case actually follows you on Facebook, but you two have never directly spoken. Why do you think he follows you?
I would like to know that answer as well. You know, I think he just understands that what he did was wrong, and he might just be really seeing what I'm doing now after the life has been given back to me.
Did you ever want to reach out to him yourself and have a couple questions for him? I imagine I would.
In this space, I do. You know, I feel like accountability is really key for right now, transparency. And whether it was a lack of effort on his part or other extenuating circumstances, I think that piece needs to get out.
And I know that no amount in the world could somehow compensate for the years that you lost, that were taken away from you. But the state has given you a $1.2 million compensation for your time served. It also gives you a monthly annuity. How do those payments make you feel?
The reality is everything that I have comes from a dark space. And so while I do have the resources and I was given the resources, it reminds me of a time when my life was laid stagnant and dormant. But it does provide resources in order to make change for other people that might be going through the same things that I went through.
And speaking of change, since your release, you started Miles of Freedom. It's a nonprofit that helps prisoners adjust after they are released. The program brings you back to prison for visits, obviously. Is this triggering in some way, or are you strictly there just to help other inmates?
I think it's a two-edged sword, being that iron sharpens iron. I go back into the prisons to minister and to be a beacon of light, and I get encouragement from those men as well. Miles of Freedom works to work with people that are coming home from prison, because we understand that's a gap in the space of criminal justice, and that's where we find our best needs and services fall in.
Wow, Richard, you amaze me. Despite everything that you have gone through, you've picked yourself up, you're helping other people, you're a champion for change, trying to create reform in the prison system. I hope that everyone watching right now can go and learn more about Richard's organization, because it is changing lives. So visit milesoffreedom.org. Richard, thank you for joining us today, for sharing your story. You are incredible,
amazing,
my man. You
amazing.
are incredible. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
It was our honor. We'll be right back.
It's looking more likely that we'll need a booster shot of the coronavirus vaccine, at least when it comes to Pfizer's vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Pfizer's CEO now says that people who receive the Pfizer vaccine will likely need a third dose between 6 and 12 months after initial vaccination. That third shot is needed to fight against coronavirus variants that have developed. After that, he said getting your coronavirus vaccine would likely become an annual event, kind of like getting your flu shot every year. But researchers still don't know for sure how long protection against the virus will last. That's because not all vaccines and not all viruses are the same. Some, like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, known as the MMR, gives lifetime protection, while the flu is only seasonal. So far, both Pfizer and Moderna are reporting their vaccines offer protection through at least 6 months. The problem right now are variants, which continue to spread. In fact, the more contagious UK variant is now the dominant version of coronavirus in the US. While limited research shows both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines work against the variants, more research is needed, and there's always a concern a new one will emerge.
Welcome back to DBL. Did you know regular exercise can help protect you against severe COVID? We're chatting about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. Now, the British Journal studied almost 50,000 people who developed COVID-19, and their study found that those who had been the most active or exercised before catching the virus were far less likely to be hospitalized. People who didn't move as much were more likely to experience severe complications. Regular exercise, whether going to the gym, walking, biking, or swimming, is really more important than ever. QB is changing the way the world thinks about fitness, regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. I think both of you, I'm taking cardio bar.
What is that? And that's bar, B-A-R-R-E.
Yeah,
right?
like a ballet bar, and you go to where you're fatigued, your muscle almost can't take anymore, and then you're done.
So you pay to go to a room that just has a bar in it?
Yeah.
Do you not have anything that's a bar in your home?
No, I do it at home with a chair alone.
Maybe you should go to a couple.
To mingle.
Yes.
Oh my God. What do you guys exercise? Anything? Yoga?
I do yoga in the morning, yeah.
Yeah, I do the bike, and that's why I like the QB idea. I like to keep my legs moving because I can think about other things. Well, my lower half just does what it wants.
Wow,
that didn't sound great.
Like a centaur. Yeah, that didn't sound great.
I will try your bar and chair thing.
Excellent. I'll give you the site. We'll be right back.
Tori's got those 1700s workouts.
We'll be right back.
Consideration is brought to you by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying. Does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the first Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. We have a crazy viral video to share. A bobcat attacks a woman. Her husband steps in to try and help. The whole thing is caught on camera. Take a look.
Watch out! Oh, shoot that! Get out! Watch out! Watch out! It's a bobcat! Attack my wife! A bobcat!
It was cool because it was like he was holding it up like Simba, but then like a weird director's alt ending, he ends up throwing it.
It reminded me of like an old Steve Martin, like the Jerk movie or something, where they whip it around. You just take it and like throw it. And it's hilarious.
Well, and everyone, the bobcat's okay. Everyone's okay. We're not laughing at the bobcat or that.
I am. Yeah,
I got in trouble on Twitter already about that.
Twitter's always for trouble.
All right. Well, we hope everyone's well. We hope everyone has a good weekend. Goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. DBL, we're new every day. We'll see you Monday, y'all. Same time, same place. Have a good weekend.
Yeah!